right. We are live, guys. It is the 2026 US Outdoor Championships. It is technically day 3 here, but our first day going live for it. It is Saturday, July 25th, and we are getting things started right now. It is the women's 200 meters. First heat went off, and the second heat is about to go off. So I will recap the first heat momentarily, but these women are literally in the blocks right now for heat 2. So let's lock in and focus on this second heat. It looks like the entry list here, we've got Cambria Sturgis, we've got Chandler, Mays, Prandini, Carter, Howard, and Johnson. They are off, ladies and gentlemen. Heat 1 was won by Kayla Jackson, and I believe Mackenzie Long was the second woman to get the auto cue. Going into the home stretch here, it is Sturgis, who is one of the favorites here. Sturgis looking to hold on here. She'll be challenged by Mays. It's going to be a close heat 2, but it looks like Cambria Sturgis will hang on to the win here. So the Adidas athlete takes the win in heat 2, 22.58 for the win. And Jaden Mays gets that second auto cue in second place with 22.85. All right, so we are through 2 heats of 3 for the women's 200 meters. Welcome, everybody, joining us now. We are just getting started here. My name is Will Loggia. This is the Kick a Runner's podcast. And sorry, I'm a little late to getting on. I had to get some Chipotle because this is going to be a 4-hour live stream. And I realized I need to have food. And I'm honestly hungry already. This is probably a bad idea to start eating it in the first few minutes, but once you get Chipotle and it's hot and ready to go, you want to just eat it. I got a burrito bowl, ready to enjoy it. Hopefully, I don't make too much of a mess and don't want to let it distract from the commentary. But one thing I will say is that this meet does have a lot of space in between events, so there will be plenty of time to have a bite to eat, as well as engage with your live comments in the live chat. I want to thank Sagrenta8142. I know I've seen your name before in our live stream, so appreciate you being back. Apologies that I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce your name, but thank you for getting this thing started. You said that Melissa sub 21, I guess 2191. I'm guessing you mean sub 22, and she'll run 2191. But yeah, Melissa Jefferson Wooden will be in the final heat of these women's 200 meter prelims. That's heat 3. It should be up any second now. Let's do a poll for that third heat here. So I know Melissa Jefferson is in this one. Cameron Dixon is also in this heat. This will be a tough heat, guys. Remember, 2 athletes from each heat auto queue, and then the next 3 based on time go to the final. So let's get a poll going in here. Oh, I pronounced your name right. Honestly, I don't even remember how I pronounced it, so I might get it wrong in the future, but appreciate you being here. How you doing, man? We've got track at its very best here in the U.S. right now. I've got my U.S. singlet on right now, old-fashioned. U.S. Olympic singlet on for the USA Championships. If you couldn't tell from my voice, probably sound American. But yes, I am American. And that is part of the reason why we are commentating these national championships. And another reason is because we have 3 athletes who were on the Kick podcast here as guests competing today. I actually want to put up a Instagram post about that. I made a little graphic edit with the 3 athletes. That's Wes Porter, Sophie, Novak, and Teagan Schein-Becker, who are all competing today. So we'll be getting excited for them. Both Teagan and Wes Porter advanced from the first round of 1500, and they're in the finals today. And then Sophie Novak in the steeplechase, I don't think there was like a first round for the women's steeple, which is weird because I think there was for the men. I don't know. Maybe somebody can correct me on that, but and again, if you're just tuning in, I am going to have to eat some Chipotle right now. We're gonna be live for 4 hours, so I figured the burrito bowl was the best way to hold me over. But right now we have heat 3 rather of the women's 200 round 1. Taking the line, there's Melissa Jefferson Wooden. She is in the Nike kit, looking very serious and prepared to take on this third and final heat of the women's 200, looking to punch her ticket to the final. All right, guys, let me get that post up for the Instagram. Again, we have 3 athletes today who have been guests on our podcast. Definitely listen to those episodes. But it's Wes Porter, Sophie Novak, and Teagan Schein-Becker who are all competing for a national title today. How cool is that? All great episodes, all great people, so we'll definitely be rooting for them. But if you're new here, feel free to leave a like, hit that thumbs up button, and subscribe if it's your vibe. Free to do so, takes next to no time, and we really appreciate it. Our goal is to hit 500 subscribers. Hopefully this weekend. It feels a little lofty to say this weekend, but as soon as possible, as that will unlock a lot of capabilities for our channel. So feel free to send us some love. It's all free to do so, and we like to keep things free here on The Kick. Feel free to leave a live chat. That's really what gets these live streams going, is when we have a good back and forth in our live chat. And looking forward to hearing from all of you as we go forward today, chiming in, thoughts, predictions, just saying hi. You know how it is. I actually had the opportunity to potentially go to this meet. It is pretty local for me. I'm in New Jersey, and it is actually in New York, this meet, for the first time since I think 1991 at Icon Stadium. But I figured let's keep it here on the live stream. We've had fun on these live streams recently. Sagrenta says we'll make it to 10K soon. Fingers crossed. I don't know if you mean 10,000 subscribers, but I don't think that'll happen anytime soon. But that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? The track community, relatively niche, so hard to grow to massive audiences, but the audience that we do curate tends to be very strong and tight-knit in a great community. All right, women's 200 meters, heat 3, guys. These women are taking their marks right now. Leave your vote for who you think will take this heat right now. All of you voted Melissa Jefferson Wooden. Again, she doesn't have to win this heat in order to advance. Top 2 automatically qualify, and then the next 3 fastest from all 3 heats based on time. Floyd says, thanks for sharing. Floyd, thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Sagrenta says, Melissa, easy. They are taking their sweet time and getting this one started. I always feel bad for the athletes having to wait. You know, this period right before the gun goes off is so nerve-wracking. The camera is all on Cameron Dixon and Melissa Jefferson Wooden. So I think the broadcast is feeling like those are the 2 favorites, and I can't argue with that. All right, guys. Any second now, this third heat of the women's 200 is going to pop off. But boy, oh boy, do they take their sweet time at this meet. It is a national championship, so you want to make sure you're not rushing things, but And again, apologies that I do have to eat on stream here. This is going to be a 4-hour stream, so we got to eat at some point. And honestly, later in the meet, it's going to be more rapid fire commentary with like some of the finals events. These are just prelims. And there's a lot of time in between, so figured now's the time. We also don't have a ton of people in here right now, so if you are here, you're probably a real one. So appreciate you early viewers for tuning in. All right, women's 200, third heat here. Come on, guys, let's get this thing started. The women are in the box. And they are off here. Melissa Jefferson Wooden looks like she is off to a good, solid start. Looking smooth here, looking to just advance in the easiest way possible. They enter the home stretch, and it is Melissa Jefferson in the lead. Cameron Dixon by her side, so it could be those two guys getting the auto cue. Will they hold on? They will. As expected, it is Melissa Jefferson Wooden and Cameron Dixon getting the top two spots here. Guys, Melissa Jefferson Wooden made that look so easy. She had about 5 meters on the field going into the final 100, and she just kind of coasted in and held that lead. So 22.50 is the time for Melissa Jefferson Wooden. She made it look really easy, really smooth, and the gap she had on that field in just a 200-meter race speaks volumes about the level she is at. Kind of in a class of her own here, at least in this particular heat. Oh, just so smooth coming around that turn. There was no question that she was going to take the win. Cameron Dixon fighting a little bit harder to hold on to that second place spot just over Christine Mallard. But I think Mallard will get that little cue based on time, and she'll qualify for the final. Sag Renta says this is going to be Melissa's first sub-22 of the season. Honestly, I think she could have if she wanted to. I think she's saving it for the final. She runs 22.50 here, but looked so smooth. Yeah, I mean, she did not really have to push herself to the max in that heat, and that's honestly ideal. You want to just survive in advance, right? That's what it's all about, conserving any energy you can for that final. So you guys got it right there in this poll. We'll end that one here. Predicted Melissa Jefferson Wooden to win, and she did it. But we've got some more track and field on the way. It is a little bit of a gradual start to things. Like I said, it's a slow burn of a meet. So feel free to just talk about anything, preferably track related, and absolutely, keep it appropriate. But in our live chat, we are going to have time to kind of just, I want to say shoot the, but I don't curse on here. I haven't yet. Let's see how long I can keep that going. I don't really curse much in general, so I don't think it'll be too hard. But yeah, just to kick back and chat about track. But we are going to have a little bit of a break here before the men's 200 meters. It looks like that's scheduled to go off in 5 minutes. So for the next 5 minutes, I will be locked in on your chats. Actually, I still need to post the Instagram little promo for this meet. Here, let me drop the Instagram in the chat here for you guys. Follow at the Kick Podcast on Instagram. Boom. Give us a follow if you're on Instagram. And be sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Right here on YouTube, we have all the episodes as well. I actually like having the video format, but Spotify does the video format too, and I think Apple does it too. I'm not sure if they have 100% added that feature. I don't really use Apple Podcasts. I get our podcast up on there, but I don't consume on there. I'm more of a Spotify guy. Okay, Sakrenta says, if anyone can challenge Juju in the 200 meters, it's Melissa and Sharika. Yes. Ferdinand, greetings. How are you? Ferdinand from South Africa, one of our top viewers here on the show. Ferdinand, appreciate you tuning in here for what is a U.S. championship meet. That's pretty awesome. As you can see, I'm repping the home country here for USA's with my old-fashioned U.S. Olympic singlet. So very happy to be here live reacting to another U.S. championship. Indoors, we did it a few months ago. It was a lot of fun. I think outdoors always kind of takes things up a notch, at least in my opinion. So we are at beautiful Icon Stadium in New York here, watching along. Well, I'm not actually there. I'm pretty close though. I'm in New Jersey, but I'm watching on TV and commentating. Here, right now they are doing triple jump, or they're showing triple jump, but I think, yeah, that's currently being contested. So for the next couple minutes, they'll show some triple jump, and then it'll be the men's 200 meters going off in a few minutes. Right now, Russell Robinson seems to be in the lead for the men's triple jump. So for any of you triple jump fans, there you have it. And they are showing the New York City skyline here. Icon Stadium, the host for this iteration of the U.S. National Outdoor Championships, hasn't been hosted in New York since, I believe, 1991. So it's been a while. But the USATF Outdoor Championships have made their way back to New York. And now we are back on the track for Heat 1 of the men's 200. And this is a prelim round. There will be 3 heats. The top 2 from each heat will qualify for the final automatically. And then the next 3 fastest times from all the heats will also advance. In this first heat, we have Josephus Lyles, Zacchaeus Beard, Jordan Coleman, Dakari Charlton, Maximilian Thomas, Garrett Kalund, and Rashawn Fountain. So honestly, I think this first heat is a heat where pretty much everybody has to feel like they can advance. Just looking at season's bests and times, it's pretty close in this one. You don't have Noah Lyles in this heat. He'll be in the next heat. You know, he'll be shaking things up. So I think these men in Heat 1 have to all be very excited about the opportunity here to have a very manageable heat. Garrett Kalund will be one of the favorites in this heat. We watched him, USC, the young man. Very talented sprinter, so we'll see what he has to offer here. And these men are already in the blocks and on their marks. So maybe moving a little faster here than we were with those women's 200s that took a long time to get going. Men's 200 meters here at the USATF Outdoor Championships 2026 at Icon Stadium. About to get underway. These men are set. And they are off. Watching for the young man, Garrett Kalund. Looking good coming into the home stretch. Somebody pulled a hamstring there. I'm not sure who that was in one of the middle lanes. But it is Garrett Kalund holding off Maximilian Thomas. But those are your 2 advancing. So the young man from USC, Garrett Kalund, at the U.S. National Championship stage here, represents well. Runs 20.46 for the win there. And the big Q, Maximilian Thomas, another younger athlete representing on. He gets the other Q. And just like I said, guys, this was a heat where some younger guys had a chance to advance. Sad to see Dakari Charlton pull up there. It looks like he definitely pulled a muscle. Hate to see that, but it does happen, especially in these sprint events. But congrats to Garrett Calhoun, taking the win there in the first heat, punching his ticket to the final. And now we will have Heat 2 coming up around the corner. This is the heat with Noah Lyles. Sagrenta says Noah is going to get the 200-meter title as well. Noah Lyles did win the men's 100 meters yesterday and really set the tone, saying, he is proving that he is the fastest man in the world. Once again, obviously, Noah does not lack confidence. So we will see if he can add to his title list at this year's Outdoor Championships with another U.S. national title. It'll get started in that pursuit in just a couple minutes here as Heat 2 prepares to get on the line here. This second heat headlined by Noah Lyles. Again, if you're just joining, I do have to eat a little bit here. It's going to be a 4-hour stream, so I hope you don't mind me scarfing down this burrito. We do have enough of a gap in between events here that I am able to eat without interrupting any of the commentary, as they show Noah Lyles tying his shoes right now. You would have thought maybe he would have had that done already, as we are moments away from Heat 2 getting underway, but I guess he wants that fresh tie, and you really can't argue with Noah Lyles as he continues to have so much success. And now they are showing a highlight reel of Noah Lyles here, going all the way back to 2023 Budapest, and kind of just taking you through the timeline of his great career thus far. Here's 2025 in Tokyo. Unique hairstyle he had for that one. So yes, Noah Lyles, guys, is on deck here. And we are going to see if he can back up that 100-meter title with the 200 today. What do you guys think? Let's get a poll going. Will Noah Lyles win the men's 200-meter title? National title. Sounds even better. All right, boom, poll is live. Please leave your votes. It's free to do so. And we have a pretty strong history here on the Kick of getting polls correct. All right, I've been saying I'm going to post on Instagram so much. I just hate to, lose focus on our streaming. I want to always keep everything entertaining because, you never know when somebody's going to join and be like, oh, this guy's not talking. This guy's not engaged. Ferdinand says, I'm impressed by Kayla White so far. Looking forward to 800-meter tomorrow. Nia Atkins and Paige Shepard did good. Think high schooler will do good in Eugene. Remix Slovenia and Gill UK, her challengers. Very good analysis there. Yeah, I'm going to have to root for Paige Shepard for sure. I don't know about y'all. But, yeah, I'm excited to see the 800s as well. But, yeah, Paige Shepard is from my area. I'm from New Jersey, and I'm actually in the same county as her school, Union Catholic. It's where Sydney McLaughlin went to high school. She actually was at a bunch of my meets. My only overlap with Sydney was when I was a freshman. She was a senior, but she was like a celebrity at that point because she had just gone to the Olympics between her junior and senior year. But she was in my county. She came to all the meets. She dominated. But yeah, I was at Westfield High School in New Jersey, and she was at Union Catholic. Fun story. She actually went to the same prom as my sister. She went to the Westfield High School prom, which was our high school. That was I guess, her junior year. Yeah, her junior year. And she obviously has become the greatest 400-meter hurdler of all time since then. So pretty cool. But yeah, saw her at a bunch of meets. She was awesome. And now Paige Shepard is another superstar from Union Catholic. Middle distance phenom. And she'll be in the 800. So anyways, enough for my little tangent and rant there. But yes, I do love New Jersey track. Ferdinand says 200 meter will be a walk in the park for Noah. We shall see. They are certainly advertising it as the Noah Lyles special here, guys. Really the only athlete they are showing on screen here. He is the face of men's sprinting in this country and around the world right now, so can't blame them. Sagrenta says, think it won't be easy for Melissa. Kayla seems really strong. Fair points, fair points. Both Sagrenta and Ferdinand always have very astute, knowledgeable takes on the sport. All right, guys, so men's 200 Heat 2 featuring Noah Lyles is on the track now. Noah Lyles sticking his tongue out, shaking his head, smiling, looking ready to just get out of the gates here and advance to the final. He's got his hands up as they introduce him to the crowd, who's clapping, knowing that he is one of the best in the world, if not the best. How will these competitors fare here in this second heat? At least one other will advance, and I think it's likely that we get some of the time qualifiers from this second heat, as Noah could push them to some faster times. But he also doesn't want to go all out, so we'll see how it all plays out. Kyrie King in this heat, they're showing him now. He's got a cool Nike singlet with a lot of purple in it. And then the shades with purple lenses looks pretty cool, I must say. All right, guys, Heat 2 of the men's 200 meters. This one featuring the one and only Noah Lyles. Let's see how it all shakes out. 100% of our voters thus far predicted that Noah will not only win this prelim heat, but he's going to win it all. Sagrenta says easy peasy for Noah. Ferdinand says actually like Kayla White, same coach as Melissa. She can surprise, did her first sub 22. And we are off here. Men's 200 meters, Heat 2. Noah Lyles off to a really good start. He's usually more of a strong closer, but in this field, he is just already out of the gates really strong. And he looks so relaxed in the home stretch. It looks like he just knows he's going to win. And he's kind of just looking and coasting in a line, and he takes the win, guys. 20.51 for Noah Lyles. So cool, calm, and collected. And he will high five Kyrie King here, the other man to advance automatically from this heat. So it is Noah Lyles 20.51 to take a smooth and seemingly easy win to advance to the men's 200 meter final. Kyrie King takes second in 20.71. Those are two big cues from Heat 2. That had a nice ring to it. All right, guys, so one more heat of men's 200s is on deck. But again, they re-show this second heat, and Noah just looks so confident and relaxed. Got out really strong and then was just able to kind of coast along with the field. Wasn't trying to, slam the door on them. Was just trying to stay right with them and make sure that he could take the win. He did look to his left a couple times in that home stretch, just making sure. All right, guys, so if you're in here, feel free to hit the like button. It's free to do so. It takes next to no time, and it helps more people find our channel when they search. All right. Alberto Rebolo, thank you for your comment. I'm not sure if I've ever seen a comment from you, Alberto. Apologies if I am forgetting, but appreciate you chiming in, asking why didn't Kayla White run the 200 meters? I don't know. Yeah, it's a good question. Kayla White not running the 200 meters. Honestly, some of our commenters in the live chat might know more than me about that. I don't know the story on that. Don't want to report any false information. So maybe somebody in the chat knows, but I unfortunately do not have a good answer for you on that. So they're interviewing Noah Lyles right now. He's all smiles. Took care of business in that prelim. Really never a doubt there. Ferdinand says, Audrey Wero ran 50.8 in prelims at Swiss Champs, personal best. Thank you for that update. That's incredible. Do we think Audrey Wero is going to be the woman to break the 800-meter world record? You know, for a while, people thought Keely Hodgkinson. She's been a little shaky as of late, but Audrey Wero, man, running 50.8 in a 400. Come on. I feel like Audrey Wero is just as big of a threat to that women's 800-meter record as any woman in the world. Ferdinand says, yes, Audrey Wero. Yeah. No, I think it really might happen. I don't think it's crazy to say that. And honestly, she might be the favorite to do it. So we shall see. Again, we were live last week for the men's mile record, world record. That was awesome. If any of you guys were here for that, that was pretty fun. But yeah, Josh Kerr took the men's mile world record last week. And I somehow didn't lose my voice. I was excited on that live call, but I didn't lose my voice, so that's nice. Commercial break here. We have one more heat of men's 200. Thank you guys for joining in. We're live for the USATF Outdoor Championships 2026 here at Icon Stadium. As they return to the action, we have one more heat of the men's 200. And I'm finally making this post on our Instagram page. All right. And they are giving us an update on the men's triple jump. Ferdinand says Commonwealth Games track starting Monday. Josh Kerr versus Jake Whiteman versus Cam Myers. Dude, Kerr versus Myers is such a cool battle to me. I feel like it's like the equivalent to American football when Tom Brady went against Patrick Mahomes. It's like the old versus the young. Obviously, Josh Kerr isn't that old, but Cam Myers is clearly the young guy, and he could be the next guy potentially to take the world record from Josh Kerr. So I think it's just such a cool battle and matchup. Anytime you get to see Josh Kerr versus Cam Myers, what a battle. Will Josh Kerr be able to hold on to his spot at the top, or is it Cam Myers' time, and is he going to kind of take the throne? How long will this men's mile world record stand? How long will Josh Kerr remain the number one guy in the 1500 and mile? I don't know, guys. These young guys are coming up quick, and Cam Myers is certainly leading the charge. that Bowerman mile at the pre-classic really convinced me that he is the next great men's miler. All right, so Russell Robinson still in the lead here for the men's triple jump as they update us on that event. And we have one more heat. It is heat 3 of the men's 200 meters coming up in just a second. Thank you to everybody who has left comments so far in the early goings of this live stream. Ferdinand and Sag Renta are our top live chatters. Ferdinand says Cam Myers, Bowerman Mile 2028. Yeah, I mean, Cam Myers already won the Bowerman Mile, so could see him doing it again. I think it's going to be interesting to see what he'll do in LA in 2028. The Olympics, certainly a contender for that gold medal. And he'll have a couple more years under his belt at that point, which shouldn't hurt. I think it'll be perfect timing for Cam Myers in his gold medal pursuit. All right, final here, the men's 200 here. We have Brandon Hicklin in this heat. He was 7th at the 2024 U.S. Olympic trials. And I believe the 100 meters, that went off the screen a little too quick for me to read. Okay, Ferdinand says world record, Eugene 2028. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. You think that Cam Myers will get the world record in the mile at the Bowerman Mile in 2028. That makes sense. Yeah, the mile, as big of an event as it is, as classic and historic as it is, it doesn't get contested that much. You know, in the outdoor oval, it's usually going to be the 1500. So that Bowerman Mile, I feel like, is one of the likely places that you could see the men's mile world record going down. And I feel like 2028 Cam Myers could be the man to do it if it doesn't go down before then. You know, I think we might be seeing a bit of a renaissance, if you will, in the men's mile, with a lot of athletes knocking on the door of that record. Even Josh Kerr in his world record last week looked like he had more, which is crazy to say, but just watching him and then hearing him talk about it after too, he's like, yeah, I think I can go faster. All right, men's 200 final heat 3 underway here. Brandon Hicklin, who they were profiling here, does look to be off to a good start. We'll see if he can hold on into the home stretch. It is Brandon Hicklin and Trelly Banks, I believe. Javante Harding battling it out with Banks. It's going to be close there. Brandon Hicklin took the convincing win by a couple strides, but it was Banks and Harding in a photo finish for second. That'll be important. Let's see who they award second place in the big Q2. It will be Banks, but Harding will qualify on time here, so they both go through to the finals. And the 9 men in this men's 200 final are going to be Hicklin, Calland, Lyles, Banks, Harding, Thomas, King, Urrutia, and Mosley. Brandon Hicklin runs the fastest time in that round with a 20.43, looking nice and strong here. Left nothing to chance. So that's a wrap for the men's 200 round 1 here. Ferdinand says this year it's mile at Commonwealth Games, no 1500 meters. I don't mind that at all. I love the mile. I love that everybody can relate to it. It has so much history on it. I know for the metric system, the 1500 meter makes more sense. But the mile, you know, maybe it's the American the American in me speaking, but I like the mile. What can I say? I like the mile. All right, guys, so let's take a look at the schedule. They are going to commercial break here. Next up on the track, it will be the women's 400 meters, and that is a final. So we are going to have our first final on the track today. Things are really going to heat up. So that's coming up soon. I'll get a poll for that in just a moment. But yeah, women's 400 meters scheduled to go off in 5 minutes. Get hyped. Definitely excited to see the women's 400 meter final as the first final on the track thus far today. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Guys, we have 3 guests who have been on the podcast here who are competing today for a national title. Sophie Novak in the women's steeplechase at 4:05 p.m. She is our most viewed and listened to podcast here on the channel. Literally tens of thousands of people have listened to that episode. It is by far our most popular one. And I can see why. Sophie, great athlete, up and coming in the women's steeple, had a phenomenal career at Notre Dame, nearly took the national title just last month at NCAA's, came in second. But she is not only a great athlete, but also a great person. So she was a great episode all around. We also have Wes Porter, another great athlete, great guy. He'll be in the men's 1500 meter final. That's at 5:28 p.m. Eastern time. So just a couple hours away from that one. And then we have Teagan Schein-Becker, the Brooks Beast. So she's teammates with Josh Kerr, and we had her on the podcast. She actually joined from the Brooks Beast headquarters in Seattle, which was really cool. And she had so much great insight to share. Great personality, great episode there. So if you haven't listened to those episodes, definitely do so. We will be rooting extra hard for our Kick alumni, as we like to call them, our former guests here on the show, who we are very thankful to have recorded conversations with. So yeah, 3 of our podcast guests competing today at the US Outdoor Track Championships. And I'm posting about it right now on the Instagram. Feel free to follow us on Instagram at The Kick Podcast. They are showing on the broadcast now Sydney McLaughlin-Lavroni. I think she's changed her name officially now to just Sydney Lavroni, which is kind of crazy. Everybody, I just know her as Sydney McLaughlin, but they're showing that she had recently had a baby. So she is of course not competing at this year's US Outdoor Championships, but congrats to her and her husband. Really cool to see that. All right. All right, guys, women's 400 meters is just a few minutes away. Very exciting. This is for the national title. This is the women's 400 meter finals. Ready to go here in just 3 minutes. So I'd say the favorite for this women's 400 meters probably has to be Aaliyah, oh my gosh, Aaliyah Butler. But you've also got Scenaria Butler. Sorry, a bit of a tongue twister with all these Butler names, but those 2 athletes have to be considered favorites. Scenaria Butler, recently NCAA champ. We watched her there. So we'll see how it all pans out. Let's get a poll going for who we think is going to win this women's 400 meters. Ferdinand says Aaliyah Butler 400 meter gold. Could see it happening for sure. Who will win the women's 400 meter national title? Will it be Aaliyah Butler? Will it be Scenario Butler? Will it be neither of them? All right, guys, poll is now live in the chat. Vote in the next minute or so before this race gets underway. I would have a tough time predicting here. I didn't include her in the poll, but you also have to watch out for Alexis Holmes, probably the most experienced athlete in this race. Can never count out Alexis Holmes, guys. So women's 400 meters about to get underway. In lane 1, it's Sammy Oblad. In lane 2, it's Britton Wilson. In lane 3, it's Alexia Smith. In lane 4, it's Paris Peoples. In lane 5, it's Alexis Holmes. In lane 6, Sonaria Butler. Lane 7, Aaliyah Butler. Lane 8, Brianna White. And lane 9, Hannah Douglas. And we are off, ladies and gentlemen. And we will see how things develop on this stagger. But right now, the outside lanes look to be out to a really fast start. Almost extending on the stagger lead here. And that is Brianna White in lane 8, along with Aaliyah Butler in lane 7, leading the charge here, guys, from those outside lanes. And Aaliyah Butler just extending and extending on that out of lane 7 here. Coming into the home stretch, will Aaliyah Butler be able to hold on to this big lead? It's going to hit hard in this home stretch. We all know how that feels in the home stretch, but Aaliyah Butler fighting to hold on, and she's going to do it. Aaliyah Butler is your women's 400-meter U.S. national champion here at the 2026 USATF Outdoor Championships. And they award her gold medal immediately, putting it around her neck. Alexis Holmes does take silver. Sonaria Butler in third. Those are your top 3 women. The times, it was Aaliyah Butler, the only woman under 50 seconds, running 49.93. And she created that real estate for herself in the first 300 meters and then just fought to hang on in that final home stretch and was able to do it. She was certainly fading, as pretty much everybody does in the final home stretch of a 400. But she wasn't fading any more than the women behind her. And it was enough for her to hold on. So your final results, Aaliyah Butler takes gold here in the women's 400 meters. 49.93 for the win. Alexis Holmes, second place, 50.47. And Sonaria Butler, 50.89 for third. Back and forth, it was Brianna White, who actually did set a season best of 51.19. So congrats to her. But everybody's got to be a little disappointed. After advancing to the final, you want to get that top 3 spot. So anyone outside of that top 3, probably a little bit disappointed. But Aaliyah Butler delivers on high expectations. I believe she did win our poll. Yeah, everybody voted for her to win. So nice job picking her on that one, guys. We're not getting a ton of votes on these polls, but hopefully as the meet goes forward, we will improve on that. Thank you to everybody who has been tuning in thus far. Again, this meet is a little bit of a slow burn. Doing my best to keep your attention as best as I can and keep things as entertaining as possible. That women's 400 meters certainly made it easy for me to do so. It was a great race. And right after this break, it will be the men's 400 meters scheduled to go off in just 5 minutes. So men's 400 final, next event on the track. Congrats to Aaliyah Butler for the women's 400 meter title. Who will win it for the men? We'll get a poll up here in just a couple of minutes. Again, thank you to everybody for tuning in thus far. It's been a nice start to the meet. We're about 50 minutes in to this live stream, and we will be going for close to 4 hours. So appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm drinking my water. Don't want to lose my voice. We've got some exciting events on deck and a lot of national titles to award here. All right, I am finishing up this post for our Instagram page. USA Championships. Showing the guests we're featuring from the kick. Again, Sophie, Novak, Wes Porter, and Teagan, Schein-Becker all have been guests here on our podcast, and they're all competing for a national title today. All right, guys. So next event on the track is the men's 400 meters. Ferdinand predicting Caleb McRae going to take the gold. McRae certainly a contender here. Not a bad pick, and you always kind of have to trust Ferdinand. He knows what he's talking about, so I wouldn't ever disagree with him. But I'd also watch out for Randolph Ross. We shall see how it all plays out here. But McRae certainly a dangerous competitor. What do you guys think of Justin Robinson? I feel like, his PR might not be the fastest in the field, but he's always a contender. I feel like you can't count him out. Ferdinand says Ross has a bad lane. Yeah, he is in lane 1. So that'll make things tough, but we'll see. What about a guy like Chris Bailey? Bit of a legend there. We've got a lot of big names here in this men's 400 final, so it'll be a good one to see. Let's get the poll going here. Let's get this poll going here. I don't even know which 3 men to include here. There's too many. All right. Who will win the men's 400-meter national title? Who will it be? Caleb McRae. Even despite the bad lane draw in lane 1, could it be Randolph Ross? Could it be, who do I include here? Justin Robinson or Chris Bailey? I'm going to go Chris Bailey. And then we, of course, will have another option. Poll is live now. Feel free to let me know in the chat if you think other's going to win. Who is that other person? We have a very good record here on the Kick in predicting these races. So, see if you guys will get it right again. Immediately a vote coming in for McRae. I bet that is Ferdinand. Ferdinand saying McRae, Justin, Bailey, my top 3. Okay. So respect for Justin Robinson there. I like that. All right, guys, so just moments away from this men's 400-meter final. Feel free to vote in our live chat who you think is going to win. You guys seem to always get it right, so if you want to know who's going to win, just listen to our Kick viewing audience. Everybody on this channel seems to be able to predict these races correctly, which is pretty cool. You guys know ball, as they say, or in this case, you know track. Chris Bailey here being highlighted here in lane 5 before we get this thing started. He's looking pretty calm here, serious and relaxed. Just moments away from chasing after a national title here. Ferdinand says Britton Wilson must come right next year. My favorite Razorback all time. Wow. That's a high honor, Ferdinand. That is a very high honor. Yeah, Britton Wilson, Razorback legend. Unfortunately, not the best race for her in that women's 400-meter final. She was back in, I believe, 8th, so towards the back, but we'll see. We'll see going forward. All right, guys, men's 400 meters. Just a minute away here, guys. Who is it going to be? Get your votes in the live chat. All right. We're still waiting on them to get these men in the blocks here on their marks for this men's 400 meters. Any second now, though, we are going to get this thing started. Neo Morwege, thank you for your comment, predicts McRae. Neo, I don't think I've seen you in our live chats before, so really appreciate you chiming in and leaving a comment. It makes these live streams so much more fun for everybody involved. It's a win-win, and appreciate you being here and leaving a comment. It means a lot. And I think McRae is asserting himself as the favorite here in our poll. 75% of you voting for Caleb McRae to take this title. And in just under a minute, we will know the answer to that question as these men are in the blocks now, on their marks at Icon Stadium as the crowd goes completely silent. And the men are set and they are off. Men's 400 meter national title on the line. Who is it going to be? So very tough to tell from this camera angle that they are showing 200 meters in. Cannot really tell how this stagger has been broke down, if at all. But it does look like Justin Robinson is running a strong race here out in that 7th lane. Chris Bailey trying to hold on to the lead here into the home stretch. Guys, Justin Robinson is coming on really strong here. He's in 3rd. He's got 2 guys to catch. They're fading, and into the final tape, he's going to take it. Justin Robinson takes the win, 44.31. Just barely gets in front of Chris Bailey and Caleb McRae at the finish. Oh, this is going to be one to rewatch. I hope they replay it here in a second because that was a lot to take in as it looked like Chris Bailey and Caleb McRae just faded right at the end. And Justin Robinson just used that momentum. If the race was 395 meters, guys, Justin Robinson would have been in 3rd. He only passed him at the end. And it's funny, coming to that home stretch, he had about 5 meters to gain on them. And it didn't necessarily look like he would be able to do so. But then in that last 50 meters, Justin Robinson just kind of gets that momentum leaning forward, and these 2 guys just fade right at the right second. I mean, you can't make this up, guys. If the race were 395 meters, Justin Robinson would be 3rd or 4th. But in those final 5 meters, he does just enough to pass Bailey and McRae. My goodness, Justin Robinson is your 400 meter national champion. Yeah, Ferdinand, you got the top 3 just in the wrong order, but that's pretty impressive. What a win for Justin Robinson. Pretty cool to see him do that. Again, his form didn't look amazing going into that home stretch, so you wouldn't necessarily think that he's going to be the guy to hawk everybody down. But he just kept that forward momentum, kept those legs and arms driving, and had just enough as the other men faded. All right, guys. So men's 400 meter in the books. Justin Robinson with maybe the most exciting race of the day. This is the Kick, a runner's podcast after all, so we do love seeing a strong finish like that. Can't really call it a kick in a 400 meters as it is a sprint event, but it is that final home stretch where he made it all happen. Just gritted it out, toughed it out, and made sure he ran through that line. Love to see that. All right, guys. Commercial break again. Let's see what the next event on the schedule is. It is going to be the first round of the women's 100-meter hurdles. But wow, a pretty big break until then. Yeah, that's the only thing about this meet, guys. There's a lot of big gaps, so I wouldn't blame you for tuning out for a bit. Honestly, this is probably when I'm going to eat most of my burrito bowl. So I hope you don't mind me eating, but there isn't really another event on the track for the next, 15 minutes. All right. Sagrenta said, I missed the women's 200-meter heats 1 and 2, so I didn't know Kayla didn't run. Somebody in the comment section was right. Yeah, she did not run. I don't know the reason why. I do not know the reason why. If anybody does know or finds out, feel free to chime in anytime. Neo said, I thought McRae would win. Yeah, everybody, well, most of you guys, 75% of you thought Caleb McRae would win. And he was right there. It was a photo finish. Justin Robinson just took it at the last second. Ferdinand says, if you have time, watch French National Championships. Women's 400 meter, that Isabella Black ran 50.58 in rain. That is crazy impressive. 50.58 in the rain? That's insane. That is crazy. All right. They're showing New York City here. And the Statue of Liberty. New York, the host site for this year's USATF Outdoor Championships for the first time since 1991, I believe. All right, we only have 8 people in here right now, so I feel like I can eat. I'm not crazy to eat. We are between track events. I wouldn't be doing this if there were a race on the track right now, but we are between events, so hope you don't blame me. Appreciate you guys just tuning in. If you continue to leave comments in the live chat, I'll definitely respond to all of them. The pace, the speed at which your comments are coming in, it's not too fast right now, so I'm definitely able to read all of them, which is nice. How's everybody doing? Neo says at least it's 44.31. I hoped for 43. Yeah. Yeah, 44.31 the winning time for Justin Robinson. I honestly wasn't even paying close attention to the time in that one, if I'm being totally real with you. It was just such an entertaining race, and being that it is a national title on the line, I was more focused on, the competition and who was going to win. And boy, did it deliver an exciting finish there. Oh, okay. We are going to have some track action here. On the schedule that I'm looking at, it didn't have anything listed, but that is because this is the para events here. So that's super cool. Going to see what's on the track here. Is this the women's 100? Why didn't I have it on the schedule I'm looking at? Oh, you have to go to para national schedule. It's happening at the same time, but they have 2 different schedules listed here on. Okay. All right. Well, watching it here on the broadcast, they're saying it's the Xfinity Women's 100-meter ambulatory race. I do not know any of these athletes by name, but we will definitely take a look at who's going to take this title. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 or 10. Wow. And for this race, it is the mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, who is holding the finish line tape for the women's ambulatory 100 meters. This is okay. Wow. Wow. Well, I mean, I guess definitely good for the track world to have the mayor of a major city holding the tape at an event. Definitely shows that track is getting some recognition, as I don't feel like it normally would draw the mayor of New York City to be in attendance, but hey, this time it did. And these women are off here in the 100-meter ambulatory race here. There's one woman who's just absolutely annihilating everybody. I don't know who it is, but we'll get the name in a second. There was no doubt she was going to win that one as she breaks the tape held by New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani. How strange that is to see, but like I said, I guess good recognition for the sport here by the host city. So Mason is the last name of this woman who just took the win there. She absolutely annihilated everybody. Really wasn't too close. Quite a big gap between these athletes in this race. Yeah, she absolutely crushed them. So congrats to young woman Mason for winning this ambulatory 100 meters. All right, guys, feel free to keep this live chat hopping in the meantime. Okay, so Brittany Mason, 12.16. That was your winner for that women's 100-meter ambulatory race. Congrats to Brittany. Okay, Ferdinand says, Tara Davis Woodhall in hurdles heats. Let's go, Longhorns. Mm-hmm. Yep, she's going to be in heat 1. Tara Davis Woodhall is in lane 1, or heat 1 rather. She's in lane 3. But heat 1 are the women's 100-meter hurdles. Top 2 from each heat advance. Next 3 on time. So Tara Davis Woodhall will definitely be looking to get one of those big Qs. The hurdles always scares me though. Things can go wrong in the hurdles. We've talked about it before on this channel. What do you guys think about the talks of raising the hurdle height for the women's 100-meter hurdles? I'll be honest, I don't think they should change it. I like the continuity of keeping it as is. I'm usually a fast eater. This is taking me forever to eat. I think it's because like I keep pausing to talk and I feel bad about just scarfing it down. Nia says, I wish I could see the races. I wish you could too, Nia. Yeah, unfortunately here, can't show the race footage due to copyright. But I'm watching TV broadcast and providing the live commentary for those who can't watch it. Also, a lot of people can watch it, but still tune in here as a nice second screen companion, little secondary commentary, and then, of course, our live chat provides a community for people to all talk about the races, which is a pretty cool interactive perk of these live streams. But yeah, not everyone has the luxury of watching the races live on TV, so it's fun to be able to provide some commentary to people who are just looking for a way to hear the races live. It's kind of like a radio broadcast, but we also get to have this live chat, so it's a little bit of an upgrade on just a traditional radio broadcast. But we've had people who listen who are navigating visual impairment, dealing with geoblocking, facing financial barriers. So there's just so many great reasons to do this. And it means a lot to be able to provide that service to people. And it's just fun. So thank you for sticking with us, regardless of your reason why. It's much appreciated. All right, what race are they showing right now? Are they re-showing the women's 100 from yesterday? I think they're re-showing the women's 100 from yesterday. Yeah, the TV broadcast appears to be replaying the women's 100 meters from yesterday. So I guess for those who missed that, they're getting to see that event as they show Sha'Carri Richardson here on the line, who is, spoiler alert, going to be the winner. But I guess to kill time in between events, they figured let's show yesterday's 100. All right, guys. So apologies for a little bit of a boring section here. Nothing I can really do about it. There's just this kind of awkward gap in the schedule right now. But once things get going again, it's going to be an onslaught of great track races. We've got the steeples coming up soon. We've got, the meet's kind of ending with the big 1500s. So that'll be awesome. It's going to be good. And I'm just working on this burrito bowl in the meantime. Don't mind me. Ferdinand says, keep it like that. A whole generation retrain different strides. Oh, yeah. Talking about the women's 100-meter hurdles. I agree, Ferdinand. They should keep it the way it's been, the same hurdle height. Continuity is king in this sport. How are we supposed to compare different marks if we're changing the hurdle height? Sagrenta says Sha'Carri was flying yesterday. Yes, she was. And they just re-showed it on the TV broadcast today as if it was happening right now. They replayed the whole thing, like the introduction of the athletes, the race. Sha'Carri's celebrating right now on screen after winning. Again, this is a replay. Blowing kisses to the crowd, bowing. Whole crowd is on their feet. This was definitely worthy of being reshown. Congrats to Sha'Carri Richardson. Obviously, the 100-meter dash, kind of the most popular event in the sport on the sprint side. So, yeah. Congrats to Sha'Carri Richardson. I wonder if they're going to show Noah Lyles winning the 100 as well now, as they're kind of just re-showing yesterday's events. We have 8 minutes until the women's 100-meter hurdles first round. So that'll be coming up soon, and we will stay live for that. We'll be live for the rest of the meet. Yeah, appreciate you guys joining in here. It is a slow burn of a meet, but it is a big meet. It's, US Outdoor Championships, so patience is key here as this meet slowly unravels and develops. Sagarenta says, Sha'Carri versus Melissa versus Alfred. The women's 100 meter is going to be crazy this year. Women's sprinting is looking really good right now. Looking really, really good. In my humble personal opinion, I think that Julian Alfred is the best woman sprinter in the world. And I know that might sound crazy coming from an American wearing a Team USA singlet, but I just personally think that Julian Alfred is the best of the best. Every time I watch her race, I'm like, yep, she's the best. And she almost always wins, so. Neo says, remember 100 meter? I'm not sure what you mean, but they are replaying the 100 meters from yesterday. As we're between events here, they're re-showing yesterday's 100 meters, where Sha'Carri Richardson won and Noah Lyles won. Sagrenta says, no doubt Alfred is great in the 200 meters, but I think Melissa and Sha'Carri are slightly ahead in the 100 meter. Yeah, that's a fair point. And I feel like Julian Alfred's been running more 200s, so yeah, it might be, the 100 might be her secondary event as more of a 200 girl, but still, sprinting is sprinting. And Julian Alfred is a lightning bolt on the track. Neo says no. Neo, I think we might need a little bit more context in some of your live chats. Very much appreciate you chiming in. You are our second top commenter of the day so far, but I'm not sure what that no was in reference to. Sagarenta says, but in the 200 meters, I would definitely be bet on Alfred right now. Yeah. So Sagarenta making a good distinction. Julian Alfred, she's the best in the 200 meters. But when you go to the 100 meters, Sha'Carri Richardson and Melissa Jefferson might have the edge. And that is a very fair point. All right, guys, finally, we are seeing the women take the track for the 100-meter hurdles. Again, this is a prelim round, but Tara Davis Woodhall is in this first heat. So this is going to be very exciting here to watch one of the best to ever do it. Punch your ticket to the finals, you know, barring anything crazy happening. So Tara Davis Woodhall setting up her blocks now here. She'll be in lane 3 for this first round of the women's 100-meter hurdles. Tanya Marshall is also in this first heat. 2 women will qualify automatically for the finals. Top 2 women in this heat, and then it will be the 3 next fastest times amongst the 3 heats. Ferdinand says 200 women's Julian Alfred. Yeah, Julian Alfred has to be considered the best in the world in the 200 meters right now. Zach Rent is saying, I think Tara's going to get it. I think so too. I think she could win the 100-meter hurdles. I think she could win the final at this meet. But first, she has to take care of business here. And thanks for everybody joining in. I'm Will Loggia, host of the Kick a Runners podcast, and I am currently eating a burrito bowl from Chipotle. Hate to do it mid-live stream, but guys, live streaming for this long does make you hungry. And I'd rather eat and stay on than end the stream and like start a new one. So we'll just stick with it. Feel free to leave if you're sick of me, but we do have some great track and field events coming up right on the horizon. And first up is the women's 100-meter hurdles. The women are on their marks now in this first heat. This first heat includes Tara Davis Woodhall. Will she be able to advance cleanly to the final here? Top 2 women get that big Q. Always makes me a little nervous watching these hurdle events because things can go wrong. Anything can happen. So just hoping that Tara Davis Woodhall, as well as the rest of this field, has a smooth race, and they are off. Tara Davis Woodhall is not really pulling away at all. She's like back and forth right now. A few more hurdles to go. She's moving up now, and she does end up finishing in that top 2. It's going to be close. They give the win to Tanya Marshall, 12.80. Tara Davis Woodhall, 12.82. Those are your top 2 women from Heat 1, and those are the auto qualifying athletes here. All right, so they're re-showing this again. Not a great start for Tara Davis Woodhall. But, I mean, she got going pretty quick. She definitely had the most momentum over those last few hurdles. But because of the slightly slower start that she had, Tanya Marshall was able to hold on to the win. So we'll see how it all goes in the final. I think Tara Davis Woodhall will need a better start if she's going to get that gold medal that we all think she is capable of here. Everybody's saying Wow, so Ferdinand predicted that Marshall was going to take Heat 1, and you were right, she did. But then everybody kind of saying that they are biased towards Tara Davis Woodhull. Yeah, I think everybody's kind of in the same boat rooting for her. And she will be in that final, so that will be exciting to see. And the fun thing is we don't have to wait until tomorrow to that. That is the final event of the day here. And we will be wrapping up with the 100-meter hurdles final here today in a couple of hours. So that's going to be really fun. But first up, we have to get through these prelim heats. It's going to be the final two heats here, heat 2 and 3 on deck. This second heat might be the most difficult to differentiate, I would say. A lot of very strong women that are right around the same level. We've got Aaliyah Armstrong, Rania Jones, Kendra Harrison. Again, only 2 women will get the auto cue, so something's got to give here in this second heat. And they are on commercial break, taking their sweet time in this meet, but that's okay. Ferdinand says, "Eat, brother, I'm also eating." Okay, Ferdinand, thank you for giving me permission, and it's nice to hear that you are also eating. We're in this together. Appreciate you giving me the go-ahead. All right, heat 2 of the women's 100 meters getting ready to go here now. Kendra Harrison, maybe the favorite here out of heat 2. They are showing her on the TV broadcast. You can always kind of tell who they think the favorites are based on who they show the most before the race. And they are showing a lot of Kendra Harrison as well as Leah Armstrong. Those are 2 women that I'm familiar with, so that makes sense. Again, I am more of a distance runner background, so I don't know the sprints and hurdles quite as well, but I'm learning. All right, I'm going to... All right. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Heat 2 of the women's 100-meter hurdles here at the USATF 2026 Outdoor Championships. About to get underway. 2 women will get the auto qualifier here. I'm going to stand up for a second. Just got to stretch my legs for a second. Ugh. Sitting in this chair for 4 hours is a bit much, so I do like to stand up sometimes, move around a little bit. I go for my run after this meet, so don't want to be too tight for my run. Shake the legs out a little bit. We've been live for an hour and a half now. All right, heat 2 is underway here, guys. Women's 100-meter hurdles. Who's it gonna be? Leah Armstrong looking good, but a charge from Kendra Harrison. Rania Jones kind of gets sniped there right at the end. She was in a good spot, but Kendra Harrison comes on strong for the second big Q in that heat. It is Aaliyah Armstrong who takes the win. Let's watch this again. Yeah, I mean, just Aaliyah Armstrong dominates from the start. And then Kendra Harrison and Rania Jones are battling for that second place spot. What a good battle. We'll see if that time for Rania Jones will hold on for a time qualifier. I bet that it will. That was a fast heat, guys. Aaliyah Armstrong runs 12.53 for the win. Kendra Harrison runs 12.64 for second in that heat. But Rania Jones, outside of the auto qualifier in third, still runs a faster time than anyone in heat one. She runs 12.73, which tops Tanya Marshall's win of 12.80. So I would say Rania Jones puts herself in a good spot for advancing to the finals here. We have just one more heat here of prelims. And that her third heat will be coming up in just a moment. But I think you can count on Rania Jones being in that final, given how fast of a time she ran. Again, I said that second heat was going to be very competitive, and it certainly was. Very good chance that Rania Jones qualifies on time here, despite being outside of the top two in her heat. Ferdinand says, let's go Kenny, but Jones should take heat 2. It wasn't, like I said, well, Kendra Harrison did great. Rania Jones actually did fall out of the money for the top 2 auto queues. She was third, but I don't think that's going to matter. I think she ran fast enough that she'll just qualify based on time. Yeah, heat 2 was really fast. Sagrenta says, surprised by Alia. It's a good run for Armstrong, guys. Very strong run. By far the fastest mark in this first round of 100-meter hurdles. All right, guys. One more heat of the 100-meter hurdles here. One more heat. Thank you so much to our top 3 live chatters thus far today. We've got Sag Renta in the number 1 position, Ferdinand, our second chatter, and third is, it's not showing me, Neo. So thank you to our top chatters early on here. I think we will hit peak viewership during the 1500 meter races. Like I said, this podcast is more of a distance running podcast. And so a lot of our audience tends to tune in for the distance events. It is the 1500 meter finals that will be ending off this meet. Actually, it's the 100 meter hurdle final that will be the very last event. But towards the end, we'll have those 1500s. So hopefully we're able to hit some good viewership numbers during that period of the meet. We haven't gained any subscribers so far on this live stream, and I'm not too surprised about that, just given that anybody who's tuned in these early stages of this meet probably is already subscribed. So I appreciate you guys. But if you can hit that like button, that always helps. It's free to do, and it helps a lot. So thank you, and thank you, everybody. I personally am just so excited that it is the USA Outdoor Track Championships. Always a fun meet, and really appreciate everybody for being here. always a fun meet. And check my sound here. All right, guys, final heat of the women's 100-meter hurdles here. Third and final prelim heat about to get underway. Alicia Johnson is in this one, so she'll be looking to get an auto qualifier to this finals. Sacrenta says, but I am a fan of short sprinting. Yes, well, you're in the right place right now, as we've had a lot of sprints to start this meet off. Yeah, we actually, on our live streams, we have a lot of sprinter and sprints fans, so that's been really awesome to see. Unfortunately, my background is more in distance, so I don't feel like I'm able to give the best insight into the sprints, but you guys help me do that in the live chat, so I feel like it's a team effort, and that really helps. But yeah, if you're listening to our podcast episodes on the channel, they are generally distance runners, just because those are the conversations that I actually feel like I can provide, a good back and forth with some knowledge of my own, and lead a conversation that's interesting to listen to for people. But I've had some different events. Most recently, it was a high school decathlete, Seamus Corcoran. So he does a lot of events, and so that was really cool to host him. But in just a few days, we are going to have Rocky Hansen on the show, so feel free to check that one out. I'll be speaking with him in a couple of days, and then the episode will go up probably like Tuesday. We're recording the episode on Monday, so try to get the episode up on Tuesday. But really excited about that one. The Wake Forest distance star Rocky Hansen will be joining the kick in just a couple of days. So that'll be a great conversation. Excited about that episode. Stay tuned for that. Heat 3 of the women's 100-meter hurdle series is underway. Guys, there are only 5 athletes in this third heat, so pretty much guaranteed that Rania Jones is going to qualify on time. All 5 of these women would have to run faster than her for it to not happen. And sure enough, Rania Jones is safely moving forward, as this heat isn't slow, but outside of the winner, Alicia Johnson, it's slower than what Rania Jones ran. So Alicia Johnson runs a 12.64 to match Kendra Harrison's time. A convincing win for Alicia Johnson here. Amber Hughes grabs the second spot there to advance to the final, and then Alexandra Webster actually gets a time qualifier from that heat. So congrats to her. Congrats to Rania Jones getting a time qualifier. And then Aaliyah McCormick out of Heat 1 gets a time qualifier as well. I'm really thrilled to see Aaliyah McCormick advance, as we recently watched her at the NCAA Championships representing the home team at Hayward Field in Tracktown, USA in Eugene. Aaliyah McCormick, of course, one of the great Oregon Ducks, and just a rising star in the hurdles. So great to see that she will be contesting for a national title in the women's 100-meter hurdle finals later today. Congrats to Aaliyah McCormick. All right, guys, next up on the schedule on the track is going to be the men's steeplechase, but we do have some field events to keep track of before then. Again, this is a track podcast. I don't do much commentary for the field events, but I have nothing but respect for them. So let's take a look at the men's discus throw right now. It is Sam Matisse in the lead here right now. And the women's pole vault, I don't think it's gotten going yet. And then, yeah, that's about it. Oh, sorry. It's going to be the women's steeplechase before the men's steeplechase. So women first in that event. So that'll be exciting because we do have one of our old guests, Sophie Novak, in the women's steeplechase. She will be contesting for a national title. Sophie's episode is the most listened to episode on our podcast. Sophie, a great athlete, great person, and so lucky to have had her on the show here and always rooting for her as she continues to just take her career to the next level. She had a great season in her final season in the NCAA. She was the national runner-up, took second place at the NCAA championships in the women's steeplechase. Really close to winning that thing. I know she wanted to. I think she deserved it as much as anybody, but she ends up in second there, which is still an incredible accomplishment. And now she's taking her career beyond college, and she is going after a national title here at the USA Outdoor Track Championships. So women's steeplechase on the way, and that event will begin in just 10 minutes. Ferdinand says that Alicia Johnson is his favorite. He says, I'm distance like you, but watch all track, including field, all over the world. Followed Swiss and French championships today. We'll catch up on German. Always watch USA champs. Ferdinand, you are the man. You definitely know more than me about all the events, and I always appreciate you sharing. Yeah, I'll be the first to admit I don't know a ton about the field events. I ran distance throughout high school and college, and it was great having teammates at the Division I level who were competing in the other field events. That was always so cool to like make friends with people from all the different events and learn about their events a little bit more. But as far as like knowing all the nuances and all the top athletes, I don't really I don't know all about that. Sacramento says, so technically it's going to be Aaliyah versus Alicia in the final. They will both be in the final, that's for sure. But don't count out some of those other competitors we mentioned before. All right, women's steeplechase, guys, is right around the corner. Let's get a poll. Who do you think is going to win this women's steeplechase? I will make that poll now. Oh, what an exciting field this women's steeplechase is. Who will win the women's steeplechase? Emma Coburn, probably the biggest name in this field. But don't count out Sophie Novak, our very own Kick Podcast guest and recent graduate from Notre Dame, recent NCAA runner-up, Sophie Novak. And who else to include in this poll? It's such a competitive field. I think we have to include Courtney Wayment for sure. But we've also got women like Lexi Holiday Lowry, Sydney Mascarelli. Wow, what a field. All right. Poll is now live, guys. Who is going to win this women's steeplechase? It's coming up in just about 5 minutes. Leave your votes in the chat here, guys, in the latest poll for the women's steeplechase. And in the meantime, I'm going to just remind our Instagram followers that we are live. All right. So commercial break here. When they come back, it is going to be the women's steeplechase. Super exciting here, guys. Last time we got to watch Sophie Novak, it was at the NCAA Championships, and she was going after that national title, basically led the whole race, but unfortunately fell just short and took second. Ferdinand says, I love Sophie. Watch out for Jennings. Yeah. Oh, it's great to hear that you are a Sophie Novak supporter as well. Ferdinand, have you listened to our podcast episode with Sophie Novak? It was way back, one of our first episodes. It was our first woman on the show. It was our third ever episode, and it is our most popular episode on the podcast. Would love to have Sophie on again. Friendly with her, and I'm sure we could make it happen. But yeah, that's great to hear that you're also a Sophie Novak supporter. And then you're also saying don't count out Gabby Jennings. Yeah, absolutely. You know, Jennings actually has a fair bit more experience than some of these recent college graduates. So Gabby Jennings certainly could be considered a favorite. Sag Renta says, okay, buddy, I got to go. All right, Sag. Thank you for joining. As long as you did, appreciate you. Have a good one. Ferdinand says, I saw Sophie. Nice, 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 nice. Awesome stuff. All right, guys, back to the action here, and we are just a few minutes from the start of this women's steeplechase. Thank you so much to everybody who has joined thus far today. We are gearing up for the women's steeplechase final here at Icon Stadium in New York. The first time New York has been the host site of the USA Outdoor Track Championships since 1991. This is going to be good. All right, guys, get your votes in the live poll here for who do you think is going to win this women's steeplechase. It's free to vote. It's free to do everything here on The Kick. Subscribe, like, comment in the live chat. It's all free. So don't be shy. Don't be afraid. Nothing costs money here on The Kick. Two minutes away from the scheduled start of the women's 3K steeplechase. The world record being shown on the screen right now. And then now we're cutting back to the women who will be contesting this event today as they highlight Emma Coburn, who waves to the crowd now. She is probably the favorite in this event. Certainly one of them, but it is a very competitive field. It's not like she's the runaway favorite here, but obviously a very highly respected and well-loved athlete. They're now showing Lexi Holiday Lowry, the 2025 national champion and one of the best to ever do it at the collegiate level. We watched her many times. I actually interviewed her in person while representing the Stride Report at some different NCAA championships. Gabby Jennings here being shown. She was fourth at the 2024 U.S. Olympic trials in the steeplechase. She's wearing the Adidas kit. All right, guys, just 1 minute away from the women's steeplechase final here. What a field we have in store. I'm really excited about this one. Feel free to leave a vote. Who do you think is going to win? If it's not one of the three athletes we were able to include in the poll, feel free to share in the live chat who you got. Okay, guys, all the women are on the line here, ready to get going here in this women's 3K steeplechase. They are showing a lot of Emma Coburn here. Definitely the broadcast believing that she is the favorite, and it's hard to argue with that. She is one of the favorites for sure. Ferdinand saying Emma could take the win. Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, and they are on their marks as they step up to the line, and they are off. Women's 3K steeplechase underway here at the USATF Outdoor Championships. Loving what I'm seeing from the outside here as Sophie Novak goes straight to the front, cutting in and making sure that she is towards the front of this race. She is wearing her Notre Dame kit, representing the Fighting Irish here after her illustrious career at Notre Dame came to an end with a bang as the runner-up in the NCAA women's steeple. Sophie Novak to the front here, and a familiar competitor for her up at the front as well. It is Sydney Mascarelli, the Tar Heel from the University of North Carolina, will be leading the charge here as well. So two of the tallest athletes in this field, Sydney Mascarelli and Sophie Novak, will be at the front of this thing. Steeplechase tends to cater towards some of the taller athletes. We see taller athletes in the steeple quite often. Doesn't mean you have to be tall, but it is certainly something that occurs. And maybe the two tallest athletes in this field, Sydney Mascarelli and Sophie Novak, are leading this thing. So some of the younger athletes leading the way. Ferdinand says same college as Nagoose. Yeah, I don't know that they had any overlap. I don't think they did. But yes, Yard Nagoose went to Notre Dame, and then Sophie Novak did as well. A great school, one of the most prestigious schools in the world, Notre Dame. And Sophie Novak set a lot of school records there, namely in the women's steeplechase, as she became one of the best to ever do it in the NCAA, winning a lot of races and finishing her career as the runner-up in the NCAA championship. So what a battle we have brewing here in this women's steeplechase. Sydney Mascarelli and Sophie Novak choosing to run from the front here early on, and I gotta say, I love to see it. It will be hard for some of these younger collegiate athletes and recent collegiate graduates to hold off this field forever, but I like the confidence we are seeing here from some of these younger women in these early laps. Guys, we only have 3 votes right now for who will win the women's steeplechase. Usually you guys leave some more votes in our live polls, so would encourage you to do so. It's free, and it's just a fun way to kind of get the energy going here. Again, we are still early in the women's steeple, so not too late to leave your prediction. All these women are still in it. Ferdinand says, I follow NCAA each year. That's awesome. So do I. I'm a recent NCAA athlete myself. And while I was an athlete in college, I also was working freelance for Sidious Mag and the Stride Report. So I got the chance to speak to a lot of these athletes, and super cool to see some of the athletes that I came up with now competing today. One of those athletes being Sophie Novak, who we had on the show here in one of our early episodes. Friend of the show, Sophie Novak, recent graduate from Notre Dame. She has fallen back a little bit here. She is in about 8th, I would say, but I don't think it is due to her, struggling too much. I think it's more of a decision she is making positioning wise. And Emma Coburn has moved her way up to the front here. As a lead pack is developing, I would say about 12 women here are in this lead pack, starting to pull away from the rest of the field. So just a few athletes have fallen off of this lead pack here. Let's count it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 women in this lead pack here. And about, I don't know how big the field was, but it looks like about 7 or 8 women have fallen off. So great to see that Sophie Novak is still in this lead pack in the mix here. Gabby Jennings is your current leader. Emma Coburn right up there with her. And the young Alexi Holiday Lowry also in that mix for your current top 3. All right, guys. So Gabby Jennings trying to make this thing hurt for the field as she tries to open up a gap here. It does look like we had a trip over that last barrier. I'm not sure who that was. Absolutely hate to see that. Very, very sorry to see anybody take a fall. Who was this? I can't tell who it was, but whoever it is back running, so it looked like she fell into the infield and then continued running. So hopefully she's not disqualified because it looks like she is able to keep running. All right, but back to the action at the front of the pack. Gabby Jennings still in the lead here. Emma Coburn in the mix as well. But it is Gabby Jennings really pulling away here. Lexi Holiday Lowry going to go with Gabby Jennings. Emma Coburn doesn't look like she has it in her to stick with these top 2 right now, guys. Emma Coburn is struggling a bit right now, trying to stay tough and hang in there. So Emma Coburn desperately trying to prevent this gap from opening here as Gabby Jennings and Lexi Holiday Lowry run away with it as your top 2. Sophie Novak still in striking distance. She is in about 7th. So a great run so far for Sophie Novak, but it is the top 2 women running away with this thing. Huge gap being opened up by Gabby Jennings and Lexi Holiday Lowry. And Lexi Holiday Lowry says, enough of riding this pace. I'm going to take it myself. Lexi Holiday Lowry takes the lead here, guys. The former BYU superstar now riding for the Nike Swoosh Track Club. Running with extreme confidence here. Lexi Holiday Lowry is now putting the pedal to the metal and dropping Gabby Jennings. Lexi Holiday Lowry saying, I'm going to back up my national title from last year. So Lexi Holiday Lowry looks like she is not going to be caught here as they are entering the bell lap. Lexi Holiday Lowry in a commanding lead. Second place is Gabby Jennings. Emma Coburn is fading from her 3rd place spot. She struggled to stay with those top 2 women, and now she is paying the price. Emma Coburn going to start moving way back in this pack. Hopefully she can still finish strong. Sophie Novak is still in view on screen. She looks to be in about 7th or 8th place. So hoping she can stay tough for a good finish as well. Lexi Holiday Lowry is going to be unstoppable here, charging beyond that final water barrier. She is under 9 minutes going into the home stretch. How fast will this final time be? I think she's in store for one of her faster times. She looks to the crowd and she comes through the finish in 9:12.54. Once again, Lexi Holiday Lowry is your women's steeplechase national champion here in 2026. She just takes command of this race and runs away with it. Gabby Jennings will hold on to second for 9:17. Maddie Borman comes out of nowhere to nearly pass Jennings at the end. She runs 9:17 for third. Sophie Novak hung in there tough for an 8th place finish in 9:37. These women are spent here at the end of this thing. It's a hot day in the middle of the day in July. Kind of crazy that they have a race like the 3K steeplechase scheduled for 4 o'clock on a hot summer July day in New York. That is not exactly ideal, but these women are as tough as they come. Congratulations to all of these finishers. 18 women will finish this 3K steeplechase final. Sophie Novak, one of our former podcast guests, does place 8th in 9:37, not her fastest time. But again, this is championship racing in the heat of the day. So I'm guessing, she wanted a little bit more than that, but you've got to be proud of yourself with an effort like that. And another woman who certainly is proud of herself is Lexi Holiday Lowry, your winner in 9:12.54. She does it on her own in those final couple laps, just pushing herself to a season best. Want to shout out Angelina Ellis in 4th place. She set a PR in 9:18, so congrats to her. Emma Coburn did fade quite drastically, ending up in 7th place with a 9:29. Again, it was a hot day, and it was a hot pace from Lexi Holiday Lowry that definitely affected the rest of this field when they weren't able to hold it. Everybody trying to hang on and compete for that title, but Lexi Holiday Lowry just proving that she was on a level of her own today. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The women's 3K steeplechase is in the books. Let's catch up with your live chat. Yeah, Ferdinand saying congratulations to Lexi. That is a well-deserved win for Lexi Holiday Lowry, that is for sure. So congratulations to her. Tough, hot day out there. When I think about it, running a 3K steeplechase in late July in New York at 4 p.m. when it's still extremely hot. What is the temperature right now? Let's check this. The sun is certainly at its strongest. It's 81 degrees. So, yeah, not an easy time of day and temperature to race a 3K steeplechase in. All right, guys, we are on commercial break now. Women's 3K steeplechase delivered some fireworks. That was a fun one. Men's steeplechase will be in 5 minutes. Let's get a poll going here for who will win this men's 3K steeplechase. I'm actually friendly with one of the competitors in this one, James Corrigan. I have a fun story about him. When I did my official visit at Boston University as a high schooler, it was eventually the school that it ended up going to. But when I did my official visit, I was there with James Corrigan, who was also doing an official visit. So we spent the weekend together, getting taken around Boston, going to different restaurants. We went on a couple runs together, got to know the team. So I kind of got to know James there at the official visit we shared together, and such a nice guy. But he kind of was telling me throughout that he thought he was going to go to BYU, not BU. At the time, I had no idea he was going to eventually become the national champion at the NCAA level in the steeplechase. He was very good in high school, but he wasn't that good. So just kind of crazy to look back and say, oh, wow, that guy that I was just hanging out with ended up becoming the NCAA champion. So always have to root for James when I see him at meets like this. So James Corrigan in this men's 3K steeple final. Rooting for him. I know he was bummed that he wasn't able to compete at NCAA's last month, but he is back and hopefully better than ever today. All right, guys, so poll is now live for, oh wait, nah, I gotta add this. It's about to be live. Okay, now the poll is live. Again, can only include 3 athletes and another option. There's so many athletes who I would say have a reasonable shot at winning this thing. So if you vote other, feel free to share who you think is going to take it. But we are just moments away from the start of this men's 3K steeplechase. And I'm going to stand up for a second and just, you know, I don't like sitting down the whole time. You know what? I think I can just adjust this camera and hold it. How's that? Kind of crazy. Sorry, just giving myself a chance to stand up here, guys. I know this is probably a crazy view. You get to see my ring light a little bit. But yeah, 4 hours of live streaming makes you want to stand up and move around a little bit. So hope you don't blame me for taking a little bit of a stretch break here and getting in some standing time. I'm going to move around a little bit here before we get this men's 3K steeplechase underway. All right. Let me just move around real quick a little bit before this men's 3K steeplechase, guys. If you are new here, this is the Kick a Runners podcast. I'm your host, Will Loggia. Love running, love a good kick. And we are live for what is going to be just under 4 hours here today. So, got to get in some movement and stretching throughout. Hope you don't blame me. Just don't want to sit down and stay still the whole time. Just got to stretch a little bit. Shake the legs out a little bit. You know how it is. I'm going to go for a run after this live stream, so I don't want to be too tight and stiff for that. All right. Men's 3K steeplechase about to go off. They are on their marks, and they are off to the races here. Men's 3K steeplechase. Parker Stokes is in this thing. Yassine Sato is in this thing. Of course, James Corrigan. What a field here, guys. Ferdinand says, Mountain, my favorite. Yeah, so Nathan Mountain is in this race. He's certainly a contender for this win, so let's see how it all plays out. They are off to what looks like a really hot start here, guys. Generally in the steeplechase, things stay pretty bunched up early on, but less than a minute into this thing, big gaps are forming. This is crazy. What are they going after a world record? This is nuts. Really fast start to this men's 3K steeplechase. Already have some major gaps forming, as it is a hot pace early in this men's 3K steeplechase. Maybe a strategy to just blast the doors off this thing. But I think we are going to be in for watching a lot of suffering athletes on the track in just a few minutes, as it is a hot day. And going out this strong is going to make it hurt in those later laps. So we will see. Right now it is Hamilton who is driving this fast pace. So Duncan Hamilton saying, I am going to make it hurt for everyone here. And it is just going to be who is the toughest to be able to fight it out in these later laps when everybody is suffering from the hot pace and the hot weather. James Corrigan still repping the BYU kit. He is moving up as well. He is okay with the hot pace. All right, James, I hope you're being smart here, making this big, bold move to catch the leaders here. A lot of energy expenditure happening right now with anybody that is trying to stay with these leaders. Duncan Hamilton making this thing really fast. We'll see how long that will last. I don't think it's going to last much longer given the hot weather that they are experiencing. It's over 80 degrees. The sun is out here in New York. So I don't know that this is the race to run a ridiculously fast time. But it could just be a tactic to kind of blow the field up and have everybody suffering and just make it a battle of who's toughest rather than a sit and kick. So James Corrigan going up with Duncan Hamilton here. Good to see my buddy James up at the front, but I don't know how this is going to end up turning out when these athletes start to hurt. Early on, everybody's still relaxed at this fast pace. Excuse me. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, guys. Let's see. Who did you guys vote in our poll? Who do you think is going to win this men's 3K steeplechase? Not a lot of votes. Let's try to get some more votes in this live chat, guys. It's free to do so. Makes things a lot of fun. Duncan Hamilton making this men's 3K steeplechase fast. So a lot of athletes trying to stick with this hot pace. Few have fallen completely off of it. We are going to start to see the effects of this hot pace pretty soon, I would say, as we are just under 5 minutes into this race that tends to be just under or just over 8 minutes. Duncan Hamilton still your leader. Very rare that you see somebody go wire to wire in a steeplechase. It's very hard to do, especially in the heat. So let's see if things are going to mix up soon. James Corrigan is in there. We did have a fall. I couldn't even tell what happened. It was about 4.5 minutes into the race. Somebody was just on the infield, and I couldn't tell if it was a competitor from the race because they didn't really show the fall on screen, but it looks like now that they're re-showing it, it was indeed one of the competitors in this 3K steeplechase who unfortunately fell onto the infield. Not sure who it was. Could it have been Bernard Ketter? I believe it might have been him. So yes, I think it was Bernard Ketter who fell onto the infield. Sorry to see that. But it is still Duncan Hamilton at the front of this thing, guys. Comes through 2,000 meters in 5:31. So 1K to go here in this men's 3K steeplechase. Clicking away 66-second laps at this point. So Duncan Hamilton, guys, really putting on a clinic here, having no issue just leading this thing. Will he be able to go wire to wire? That would be quite impressive on a hot day in the men's 3K steeplechase. James Corrigan now falling back. He moves back into about 8th. Not a great sign for his race, as you don't want to fade like that. He almost falls on that last water jump, but stays on his feet. It's not looking like a great opportunity for James Corrigan to find his way back into this thing, as it is the top 5 men now pulling away from the field as they approach the bell lap. And here we go. Bell lap of the men's 3K steeplechase. Duncan Hamilton has basically led this thing the entire race. It's a hot day in New York at 4:30 p.m. with the sun beating down on these men in a tough event. The 3K steeplechase. These men have been tough all race, and they have not taken it easy. This is not a sit and kick. Shout out to Duncan Hamilton for keeping this race very honest. Oh, and we have a fall over one of the final barriers. Hate to see that with 200 meters to go. Not sure who that was. It was the athlete who was in about 4th or 5th place there. Duncan Hamilton over the last water jump loses his balance a little bit, and that stumble will mean that we have a new leader, and it is Nathan Mountain taking over the reins. Can Duncan Hamilton get him back? He's struggling to do so, making a charge, but it's also Carson Williams making a charge, and Duncan Hamilton ends up falling back to 3rd after leading most of the race. Nathan Mountain takes the win. What a chaotic finish to that men's 3K steeplechase, guys. Nathan Mountain takes the win. Carson Williams in 2nd by just maybe a couple thousandths of a second. We'll get the times here official. Yes, it is 8:13.81 for Nathan Mountain in the lead for the win. And then Carson Williams 8:13.88. So just 0.07 seconds behind. Carson Williams sets a PR there for 2nd place. Duncan Hamilton runs 8:14.05 after leading the whole thing. Almost looked like he was going to get it back at the end there, but ends up falling to 3rd. He had a bit of a stumble over that final water jump and just never got the lead back after that. What a race, guys. Men's 3K steeplechase delivers some fireworks. So congratulations to your national champion, Nathan Mountain. We had a Nathan Mountain fan, I believe, in the chat. Who was that earlier? It was Ferdinand who said Mountain was his favorite. So Ferdinand, you've got to be happy with that. Your pick did indeed won. And he won in the 11th hour. Did not lead that entire race. Over that final water jump, he made that push to overtake Duncan Hamilton. And boy, oh boy, was his timing perfect. You see that a lot in the steeplechase. If you can hang in there and then after that last water jump, just kick really strong, it can lead to victory. And I feel like that's how a lot of steeplechase races are won. Not by leading wire to wire, but by hanging in there and then charging after that last water jump. So congrats to Nathan Mountain there, guys. He is your 2026 USATF Outdoor National Champion in the men's steeplechase. All right, guys, let's see what the subscriber count is up to here. We haven't seemingly had a ton of new viewers in the live stream today. We are still at 416 subscribers. If we could try to get a few more, subscribe if it's your vibe. It's free to do so. We have some exciting stuff coming up on the Kick a Runners podcast here. We actually have an episode with Rocky Hansen, the Wake Forest superstar. on the way soon. We will be recording on Monday. Excited to speak with Rocky then, and then the episode will probably go live on the channel and on Spotify and Apple Podcasts on Tuesday, July 28th. So feel free to subscribe so you don't miss anything here on the channel. It also helps us keep going here on the Kick. Really appreciate all of you. Once we hit 500 subscribers, it will unlock a lot of perks for this channel. So really hoping we can do that in the near future. Next up on the track, we do have the men's 400-meter hurdles. That is going to be round one, and it is going to be just 2 heats. The top 3 from each heat will qualify for the final, as well as the next 3 fastest times, for a total of 9 athletes contesting the final in the men's 400-meter hurdles. All right, guys. Ferdinand says, go watch El Bacali on water jumps. He hardly ever gets wet. That's pretty cool. That's hard to do in a steeplechase, to have such a good water jump that you don't even get wet. Most people are at least landing up to their ankle in those water jumps. But good call out on El Bacali. I'll have to check out his water jumps. All right, guys, so next up is the men's 400-meter hurdles. Let's take a look at this starting list. So in heat 1, it's going to be Javon Poole, Noah Langford, Devin Nugent, Andrew Jones, CJ Allen, Christopher Robinson, and Aldrich Bailey. So I think CJ Allen has to be a favorite to advance here out of that first heat. But we shall see, as we are just a few minutes from the scheduled start of the men's 400-meter hurdles. First round here at the USATF Outdoor Track Championships. All right. What a meet it has been thus far, and we are still just getting started here, as some of the marquee events of the day are still on the horizon. Very exciting times here for track fans. All right, guys, so they are on a commercial break here for the TV broadcast, but I know that when they return, it will be the men's 400-meter hurdle prelim round. So excited to see that. Let's get a poll going. Who do you like from this first heat? Again, it's not vital that these athletes win the heat because top 3 automatically qualified, but let's just do, who do you think is going to win the men's 400-meter hurdles overall, even though the finals are not today? Who do you think will win the men's 400-meter hurdles? So we'll kind of predict some of the finalists here before it happens. Hate to speak too soon, but I feel like CJ Allen is definitely a favorite. I feel like out of heat 2, you've got to include Caleb Dean. Again, these guys have not qualified for the final yet. That is what they are about to contest and compete to do, but it's kind of hard to have a poll for a prelim because they're not necessarily trying to win, if you know what I mean. They're just trying to get top 3 and survive in advance. Okay. So poll is now live. Who do you think is going to win the men's 400-meter hurdles at this year's championships? Again, we don't even have the final entry list yet. That's what it's about to be determined in this prelim round. But just a fun discussion to have here. And we'll see. If one of these three men doesn't make it, that would be pretty shocking. But you never know, right? You never know. So we're about to find out here. As Heat 1 is on the track here, we've got Javon Poole in lane 3. We've got Noah Langford in lane 4. In lane 5, it's Devin Nugent. Don't count out the Auburn star. In lane 6, it's Andrew Jones. In lane 7, the one and only CJ Allen. In lane 8, Christopher Robinson. And in lane 9, Aldrich Bailey. So a stacked first heat of this men's 400-meter hurdles. As many as 6 athletes could qualify from this first heat to the final. But that is very unlikely, as only 3 get the auto queue, and then the next 3 are based on time. And usually the time qualifiers tend to come from the second heat. That's just how it goes. In the distance events, that happens because they know the time to beat. But in the sprint and hurdle events, I feel like it just naturally happens anyways. All right, guys, men's 400-meter hurdles, heat 1 of round 1 here. CJ Allen probably the favorite here. He's wearing the A6 kit, and they are showing him on the broadcast now. Also showing Devin Nugent, the Auburn superstar. We'll see how he fares. I'd say our chances are pretty good that both CJ Allen and Devin Nugent are able to advance to the final here. But that's why they run the race. Let's see how this will all go. In heat 1 of the men's 400-meter hurdles, men are in the blocks right now, and they are on their marks. Feel free to leave your vote in our poll. It's free to do so, and it's also anonymous. I can't actually see who you voted for, so you really got nothing to lose. Men are set, and they are off. Men's 400-meter oh, and they're going to get called back here. So the first go at this thing gets called back, likely due to a false start. Let's hope there are no disqualifications here. Camera is honed in on Bailey. Aldrich Bailey. Hopefully he does not get disqualified here. We'll see what happened. Ferdinand predicting that CJ Allen will win it all here in the 400 hurdles. He'll have to take care of business in advance here out of this first heat. Surprised Caleb Dean isn't getting some more love in the chat and in the polls. Votes are going CJ Allen's way thus far in our poll. All right, guys. Green card held up by the official here, as we had a little bit of a hiccup there in the first heat of the men's 400-meter hurdles. Let's get this thing underway and going again after that brief interruption. And again, feel free to leave your vote in the live poll here in our live chat, guys. I can't see who you vote for, so you don't have to worry about that. I also, it's free, so you don't have to worry about like paying money for anything here on the Kick. I think a lot of people always think like, oh, subscribe, that must mean I have to pay. Nope, it's free. Free, free, free. Free to hit the like button, free to hit subscribe, free to comment in the live chat. So, rest assured. All right, guys, men's 400-meter hurdles, heat 1, take 2. They are off, and they won't get called back this time as we are underway at the 2026 USA Outdoor Championships for the 400 hurdles. Again, this is a prelim round Top 3 in this heat will qualify automatically. Let's see who's it going to be. CJ Allen, perhaps the favorite in the event, and he is off to a solid start in lane 7. We're going to see how he looks coming off the stagger as they have about 150 meters to go here. CJ Allen looks good, but it's also Christopher Robinson looking strong here. CJ Allen doesn't seem to be under any rush to try to catch him, as Christopher Robinson has a huge lead here, and CJ Allen will be content to run in second. It's going to be more of a battle for third place, and it looks like it is going to be Devin Nugent who sneaks in for third. Very close there, though. So first and second are Christopher Robinson and CJ Allen. They are well ahead of the rest of the field, making it look easy. Christopher Robinson dips under 49 seconds for a 48.99. CJ Allen runs 49.18, and they coast their way to the finals here. And then it was a four-way battle for third, ultimately taken by Devin Nugent. He runs 49.67 for the final auto qualifier in that heat. Noah Langford ends up in fourth. He'll have to wait to see if his 49.95 is enough to sneak him into the finals based on time. Heat 2 on deck now, guys. Ferdinand says, Ken Harnden, good hurdles coach at Auburn. Auburn has a great coaching staff, let's be real. I mean, they are always contesting for national championships across the board. Hurdles, sprints, jumps, I mean, you name it. We're getting an update on the women's pole vault. Sandri Norris being shown here now. She had a great jump. Wow. I don't even know the height on that, but a brilliant, brilliant jump there. So shout out to Sandy Morris, rather, one of the veterans in the women's pole vault. Men's 400-meter hurdles. Heat 1 is in the books, and Heat 2 is on deck here. Caleb Dean will be headlining this second heat. He'll be looking to punch his ticket to the final. We'll see who else joins him. All right, guys, we have been live for 2.5 hours. More than 2.5 hours. Thank you for tuning in if you have so far today. We are pretty low on the Kick Podcast totem pole of viewership, but as we look at the analytics, our average view duration is actually the highest it's ever been. And I think that is due to people being engaged, like Ferdinand, joining and then staying for a while. Whereas in some of our live streams, we have a very quick turnover of people joining for a couple minutes and then leaving pretty quickly. So although our viewership is one of the lower totals that we have had, our average view duration is actually really strong. And that helps us a lot because YouTube does indeed track view duration and how many watch hours your channel gets. So every second that you stay tuned in does count. I don't want to take up too much time in your day. You can always feel free to leave, come back, do whatever you got to do. But it does mean a lot when people join in and they stay for a while. And at this point, I would say we are reaching some of the big events of the meet. So I wouldn't recommend going anywhere. The men's and women's 1500 meter finals are coming up very soon, so excited to see that. We've also got the women's 100-meter hurdle final as the last event of the day. That's coming up in about an hour. So a lot of good stuff to look forward to. hoping that we get some more people in here for the 1500s, which are kind of our jam here on the Kick. A lot of distance running fans, as I am a former distance runner, so that is more of my expertise. But first, we have this men's 400-meter hurdles Heat 2. Caleb Dean headlining this second heat. He's got the purple Adidas kit on. He is looking ready to go here as he nods his head, slaps his quads, saying, "Wake up, body. It is time to go." So we're just a minute away from the start here. James Smith II is in this race as well. He was 5th at the U.S. Olympic trials. He has only gotten better since then. I believe ran a new PR this season in this event. So watch out for James Smith II. Surprised that him and Caleb Dean haven't gotten any votes in our poll for who will win this 400-meter hurdles. So men's 400-meter hurdles round 1 is underway, and we have the second of 2 heats about to pop off here. In lane 3, it's Finian Andrews. In lane 4, Josiah Johnson. In lane 5, James Smith II. In lane 6, Caleb Dean. In lane 7, Javon Williams. In lane 8, Rete Rash. And in lane 9, Andres Langston. So Caleb Dean in a really good spot here in lane 6. So he's got a great position to make it happen here, and we'll see if he's able to execute and do so. As the men are on their marks, they are set. So if we don't have another false start deal here. Oh, they will have them stand up again. This time the race didn't pop off. Looks like one of the athletes rose his hand, and the official asked everybody to stand up. All right, so we're falling a little bit behind on this meet, given that the last 2 400-meter hurdle heats have had some starting issues, and it was Caleb Dean who rose his hand and asked for a moment there from the starter. So wonder what the issue was for Caleb Dean there that caused him to say, "Hey, wait a second. We got to call this thing back up. I'm not feeling ready to go." Who knows? All right, take 2 at heat 2 of the men's 400-meter hurdles. The men are once again on their marks. Caleb Dean probably the favorite here. We'll see who is able to advance and how many time qualifiers will come from this heat. 3 auto cues for the top 3, and then the next 3 fastest times between heat 1 and 2, and they are off here. Looks like this one is off to a very fast start, so I think we could potentially see some time qualifiers from this second heat. Caleb Dean looking strong in lane 6, but who is that in lane 8? Is that Rete Rash? He's looking strong. We have a fall on the final turn. Hate to see that. But right now it is Caleb Dean in the lead going into the home stretch. He's going to try to conserve as much as he can in this home stretch. He's got a strong commanding lead. He really doesn't have to push any harder here in this home stretch. And it is Caleb Dean taking the win in 48.47. James Smith takes second in 48.9. So just as we expected. But shout out to Rete Rash. He places third. 49.1 for him. And it looks like it was Finian Andrews, the young man, taking the fall. Hate to see that, but Andrews seems to be okay after taking his fall with about 150 meters to go. So Caleb Dean is the fastest time of the day here in this first round of the men's 400-meter hurdles. Let's take a look at the qualifiers on time. It will be Javon Williams getting a little Q based on time out of the second heat. But then the other two time qualifiers will be from heat one. It's Noah Langford and Aldrich Bailey. So congrats to those men punching their ticket to the finals. And there you have it, guys. Whew. Trying to stretch my leg a little bit. Sitting down for a while, man, makes you stiff. It's like being on a flight. Sometimes I think of these live streams where I'm sitting for a while. It's almost like a flight where you're just sitting in place for a while, or a long train ride. Gotta move a little bit, stretch a little bit when you can. All right. Next up on the track, it is going to be the women's 400-meter hurdles. Again, we don't have any Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone in this year's iteration of the U.S. Championships. She just recently had a baby, so she will not be competing at this year's National Championships, understandably so. Congrats to Sydney and her husband. And we will have to see who takes the women's 400-meter hurdles in her place. These other women have to be slightly disappointed that the greatest of all time isn't here, so it kind of lessens the intrigue for everybody. But also, they have to be kind of eager to see if, hey, Sydney isn't here, maybe I have a chance. Because when Sydney's there, I feel like everybody's got to be feeling like, how are we possibly going to beat Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone? But now, the red carpet has been rolled out, and there might be a chance for somebody else to take the win. All right, so let's get a poll going for this women's 400-meter hurdles. We won't get into the prelim results in this poll, but rather the overall final results, who you think will win it all. Just as we did with the men, the three options I gave all did end up advancing, so I feel like we can pretty much 95% count on the men I'll include here to advance, or the women rather, to advance. So who will win the women's 400-meter hurdles? This is without Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone this year, guys, so that really opens up the door to women like Dalilah Muhammad maybe getting back to being the best in the country in the event, because, you know, ever since Sydney came along, it's been rough going for Dalilah Muhammad. Not rough going, but it's just been, you know, she's kind of been replaced as, you know, not the best anymore. She's getting older. She's 36 years old. But hey, now she's got a chance to win a national title with Sydney McLaughlin not getting in her way. Then what do we think about a girl like Natalie Dumas? She's the high schooler who I am partial to because she is from New Jersey. But I think that it isn't crazy to say that she's got a chance to really mix it up at the top here, guys. Really exciting young talent is Natalie Dumas, following in the footsteps, actually, of Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, who came from New Jersey. So, feel free to leave your votes in the live chat now. Poll is now live. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in thus far. As we get to some of the bigger events tonight, would love it if we could get some more viewers in here, so feel free to share this live stream with your track and runner fans. The national championship for the men's 1500 meter and women's 1500 meter, they are going down in less than a half hour now, so that's going to be super exciting, and I think we'll have a good shot at reaching peak viewership during those marquee events. So we'll have to see. Again, our record here in the kick was 10,000 viewers for the pre-classic on the 4th of July. Tried to summon some of that U.S. spirit here today for the U.S. Championships, but viewership numbers have been a little lower than normal. That's okay. Looking at the analytics, how many people have hit that like button so far? Only 5 people have hit the like button. We currently have 9 people watching. Guys, if you could hit that like button, it's free to do so. Takes next to no time. All it does is it helps us grow and expand and keep going as a channel and a podcast. So it would mean a lot. Subscribers, we're up to 418. So we've gained a couple. That's exciting. Thank you to those who have subscribed. Again, that's free. Takes next to no time. And the one analytic data point that I'm very happy with today is that we have an all-time view duration record. The average view duration for the people who have tuned in today is the highest we've ever had on the channel. And I think that speaks to people being engaged. We might not have a ton of viewers, but those who have tuned in have been relatively interested and sticking with us. So appreciate all of you for that. And of course, Ferdinand being our top commenter, always appreciate that. Aaliyah Garazzo is in this first heat of the women's 400-meter hurdles. They are showing her on screen now. Ferdinand says, I loved Muhammad before there was even a Sydney Anna Cockrell fave to win. Yeah. Dalilah Muhammad, guys, she's been around for a long time. Let's hope she can advance here smoothly to the final. One of the best to ever do it. She is getting to be on the older side. I believe she's 36 years old now, but she is still one of the best, and always rooting for her to perform well. No Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone at this year's USA Outdoor Championships. That rolls out the red carpet to some other athletes, and let's see how it will all go down. These women are off. Women's 400-meter hurdles, heat 1 here, guys, underway. Dalilah Muhammad, the veteran 36-year-old, headlining this thing. Top 3 will qualify automatically from this heat, and then it will be the next 3 between the 2 heats based on time. Dalilah Muhammad looks great here, guys. Running in lane 5, she's already made up the stagger with 175 meters to go. Rounding the final turn, Dalilah Muhammad is just way ahead of this field, and awesome to see that. Just pure domination from Dalilah Muhammad. Abigail Glynn has been running a great race as well. She'll definitely qualify. Looks like she'll lose second place, but hold on to third. Shout out to Abigail Glynn. I know that she is a follower of the Kick podcast on Instagram. So really cool. Always root for friends of the channel and the podcast. Congrats to Abigail Glynn getting the auto qualifier in third there. So Dalilah Muhammad takes the win in 54.80. Bianca Stubler comes on strong for second in 55.11. Abigail Glynn holds on to third, 55.43, setting a season best. After running an aggressive race, is able to hold on in that home stretch, despite Aaliyah Garazzo putting on a strong surge in that final 50 meters. Garazzo will have a chance to qualify based on time with her 55.47. Let's see how this second heat will unfold. Dalilah Muhammad is all smiles here. A few minutes after the race now, she is still taking some deep breaths. She definitely worked to get that 54.80, but she is all smiles and very positive. I think she knows that going into this 400-meter hurdle final, she has a very realistic chance at winning, and what an accomplishment that would be at age 36. I'm sure she came into this meet thinking, I can do this. You know, without Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone in the field, she's got a much better chance at chasing after a win. So Dalilah Muhammad, best of luck to you in the finals as we head to a commercial break in this TV broadcast. And Heat 2 will be on the way when we get back. And the young kid, the 17-year-old Natalie Dumas, will be taking on the USA Championships here in the 400 hurdles. We will see how that goes. Got to root for her as a New Jersey native. She is this new Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, hailing from New Jersey. All right, guys, so we are chugging right along here. Less than an hour of action remains in this meet. And I will not hide it at all that my favorite events are still on the way. The 1,500 meters on both the men's and women's side. Being that my background is as a distance runner, those events get me the most excited. But not only that, in both the men's and women's 1,500 meters, we have a kick alumni, as we like to say, athletes who were guests here on our podcast. And we're going to be rooting so hard for them. Very proud of them for qualifying for the final here. They had to advance from the prelim rounds. Both of them ran great races in that prelim to earn their spot in the finals. That is, of course, on the men's side, Wes Porter. He runs for Under Armour. We had a great episode with him. We've had multiple athletes from the Under Armour Baltimore team here on the kick. We've had Damian Dilcher. We've had, of course, my good friend and old college roommate and teammate, Foster Malik, one of the fastest Canadian milers ever. And we have had Wes Porter. Wes Porter will be the one contesting for a U.S. national title here in the men's 1,500 meters. Very, very soon, in just about 20 minutes now. And then right after that is going to be the women's 1,500 meters, where Teagan Schein-Becker will be taking on the women's 1,500. Now, Teagan, she was a great episode here on the kick. I'm such a fan, as she is a New Jersey native like myself. Well, she even went to college in New Jersey. She went to Rider. And they're a smaller school, and she represented them in the national stage. And now she's a Brooks Beast. She's teammates with the world record holder, Josh Kerr, on the men's side. The Brooks Beast is just an awesome track club. Absolutely love the Brooks Beasts. And maybe we should have some more on the podcast. We'll see what we can do. But when we had Teagan on the show, she was tuned in from the world headquarters in Seattle for Brooks. So that was super cool. And she had so much great insight. Very, very inspirational athlete. Incredible positive outlook. And we are going to be rooting for Teagan in that women's 1,500. So there you have it. There's our plug for our kick guests who are taking on these championships. Shout out to them. All right, guys. Women's 400 meter hurdles, Heat 2, taking the track now. We've got Anna Cockrell, one of the favorites in this event. But we've also got the kid, Natalie Dumas. So we've got some crazy range here in ages. We've also got Shamir Little, who's being shown. She's a old veteran in the sport, 31-year-old Shamir Little. She's got quite an experience advantage on the 17-year-old Natalie Dumas. So we'll see how this all plays out here, guys. We've got old, we've got young, we've got everything in between, and it's going to be a battle here for these final spots in the women's 400 meter hurdle final. Prelim Heat 2 now about to get underway as the crowd at Icon Stadium goes silent as these women take their marks. A lot of deep breaths from Anna Cockrell. Get in your final votes here. I mean, take your time voting, I guess, because the poll that we have right now is about who will win the final. tomorrow in the women's 400-meter hurdles. These women are set and they are off. Women's 400-meter hurdles, heat 2 underway. Look out for Anna Cockrell here. She is probably the favorite in this heat, and she will probably be the biggest contender going against Dalilah Muhammad. Natalie Dumas side by side with Anna Cockrell. What a sight that is to see. So Dumas trying to hang in there. Anna does make quick work of the stagger there, passing her. And Anna Cockrell, guys, is way ahead of this field. I mean, she is annihilating this field. Honestly, Natalie Dumas still has a chance to advance to the finals here. She's got to hang tough going into this home stretch. She is losing some ground. It's probably not going to be her year quite yet for the 17-year-old. Anna Cockrell dominates this thing. Shamir Little proves that she's still got it at age 31. She places second in this heat. And then it is Dianca Bookman running a PR to place third. So those are your auto cues. We also get 2 time qualifiers from this second heat. Riley Nebbs and Chloe Fair. And then Aaliyah Garazzo, as we thought, she snags the final time qualifier out of heat 1. So congrats to Aaliyah Garazzo. I think she deserved that. She almost caught Abigail Glynn in that first heat for third. Places a very close fourth, and that is enough to get her to the final based on time. So Natalie Dumas ends up running 58.58. She just kind of faded out in that final home stretch. Again, she is just 17 years old, going against athletes of this caliber at her age is very difficult. This was a fast second heat too. Fastest time of the day. Anna Cockrell just smoked this field with a 53.65. And the athletes did follow behind her for some fast times. And Natalie Dumas just wasn't able to keep up, which is totally okay at her very young age. All right, guys. You know what's next. It is the 1500s, the long-awaited 1500s. It'll be the men first, then the women. We've got Kick alumni, former guests in both races. We've got competitive fields all around. The men's 1500 meter boasts quite the start list. Again, these men qualified from the prelims, and they have earned their spot here. Anna Cockrell, sorry, I'm getting distracted here. She is showing a wedding ring. So congrats to her, showing off her wedding ring after taking the win in her prelim round of the 400-meter hurdles. And she is all smiles about both her win and her engagement. Okay. Back to the men's 1500 meters, which is the next event on the track here. We have Carter Cutting, who won the NCAA indoor mile earlier this year. Recently signed with Hoka after his strong career at BYU. So watch out for Carter Cutting, a tactical expert in the 1500 and mile. Nick Plant, another recent collegiate runner who we know from Virginia Tech, will be contesting this men's 1500 as well. Luke Hauser, who we all know now with Atlanta Track Club, but what a career he had in the NCAA running for Mile U, as we like to say, the University of Washington, some of the best 1500 meter and mile racers in the world. He has his old teammates also taking the line with him, Nathan Green and Joe Wascom, all University of Washington alumni who all have won national titles at the NCAA level. These guys are extremely, extremely experienced with tactics. And Nathan Green actually won the indoor USA championship in the mile. So watch out for him. Not a lot of people were talking about him going into indoors. Everybody's talking about Yard Nagoose. Everybody was talking about Cole Hawker. He beat them both. Those guys aren't even here for this race. And I don't know. I think you got to consider Nathan Green in the conversation for favorites to win, because he's done nothing but prove that he can do it, not only at the NCAA level, but now at the highest level. So watch out for him. We've also got Gary Martin. I actually had one of my first ever podcasts hosted with the Stride Report while I was freelancing with them. It was called Beyond the Stride, and I had a great conversation with Gary Martin while he was still at UVA. So shout out to Gary. You all know him and love him. He earned his way to the final here. And his old teammate from UVA, Wes Porter, who we've mentioned multiple times because Wes did an episode with us here on The Kick, so we always support him. Wes Porter will be in this men's 1500 final as well, so we'll be watching out for him. Ruben Reyna, again, I mentioned earlier there were 3 Washington athletes, former University of Washington athletes on this line. But Ruben Reyna is actually a 4th. Almost forgot about him, and how could I? 4 from Mile U. They know how to run the 1500 and mile. So this promises to be a very interesting race, guys. Some of the best tactical racers in the world here in this field. Reinhard Harrison is in this field as well. Don't sleep on the NAU star. Vincent Ciotti. I mean, come on, guys. Vincent Ciotti always gets slept on and is always in the mix, seemingly in that top 3 in races like this. So don't sleep on him either. Then a fan favorite and a personal favorite of mine, Eric Holt. I mean, how could you not love the guy? His story of kind of getting into things at an older age. He's 31 years old, and a couple years ago fought for that pro contract and earned one with Puma. I believe he no longer is on a pro contract, but he's still fighting to get back on one at age 31, which is just so admirable. It's so hard to do in events like middle distance events at his age, but he is just such a hardworking, such a tough guy, such a likable guy. Really a great story in the sport. So watch out for Eric Holt representing Empire Elite Track Club. And then we've got Emmanuel Galdino from Iowa State. He's in this field as well. Might have surprised some people out of that prelim round, but he earned his way to this final. So 13 men, guys, in this men's 1500. It doesn't get much better than this. Again, this field is so stacked. We've got 4 absolute tactical geniuses in the University of Washington graduates. They all know how to run the 1500 and win titles. You've got Carter Cutting, who won the indoor NCAA mile earlier this year. You've got, Liam Murphy. I don't know if I mentioned Liam Murphy. How could I not? Liam Murphy was actually my grade in New Jersey, so ran against him a bunch. I always got to root for my New Jersey guys, and Liam Murphy was kind of the top guy in my state my year, so always fun to see him. You've got Vincent Ciotti, who, again, like I said, everybody's always sleeping on him, and he's always at the front. Dude's a beast. So it's almost like something's got to give here. All of these guys are so tactically strong in championship race settings, but I mean, there's got to be a first place, second, third, fourth, all the way down to 13th. And I just can't really imagine how those slots are going to fill out, because I can't imagine any of these guys really being at the back. But it's going to happen. Somebody's going to be at the back. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be good. Men's 1500 is scheduled to go off in 8 minutes. So the men's 1500, guys, is almost here. It looks like we have is it another para event on the track now? So we'll check this out to see what's going on here. And now, yes, it looks like it's going to be probably the men's 100-meter ambulatory event. We saw the women earlier. So it looks like that will be on the track next year before this men's 1500. It is the men's 100-meter ambulatory race. I think Hunter Woodhall has got to be the favorite here, right? He's really the only guy I truly know in this field. So I think you got to say Hunter Woodhall is probably going to take this thing. But anything can happen. That's why we run the race. And we are off here in the 100-meter ambulatory race for the men. Hunter Woodhall is not going to be in this thing at all. I was totally wrong. Goes to show you how much I know about these events. I honestly am not familiar with the ambulatory athletes as much, I'll be honest. But let's see who this man who won was, and we'll give him his flowers for sure. Honestly, Hunter Woodhall was like the only guy I really knew, but he was not able to take it. Noah Malone takes the win. 10.61. That's a crazy fast time. Nice job. So Noah Malone takes the win in the men's 100-meter ambulatory race. Hunter Woodhall back in 6th, unfortunately. That's why we run the race, right, guys? All right, guys, I'm just gearing up for this men's 1500-meter final, which is the next event on the track. We'll have the women following that. It's going to be awesome. About to crown national champions in the 1500 meters here. So get ready to go. Let's get a poll going for this men's 1500 meters. This is going to be the hardest poll to make because I want to include all 13 of these guys in the poll. They all have a chance. First, let me catch up with some of our comments from Ferdinand in the live chat. Apologies, I haven't been locked in on that. Ferdinand said that 1500 meter is his favorite event, and that's why he followed this channel. Ferdinand, I appreciate you following. Hopefully, I'm able to deliver good commentary on those 1500s coming up. Ferdinand says, Dumas going to Eugene versus Linda Botkova, Czech Republic, Toomey, Ramo Gokpa, and Megan Neiman, South Africa. Czech girl, 16 years, ran 55.19 at European U18s. My homegirl are good. Thank you for sharing all that insight. Ferdinand, you always know what you're talking about, so I appreciate that. Ferdinand also says I go with Luke in the 1500 meters, but Green and Martin can also take those, my top three, like you said, tactical athletes. Yeah. Luke Hauser, great. I mean, it's so hard to compare those Washington graduates because I feel like they all run similar. Luke Hauser, Nathan Green, they battled it out at the USA Indoor Championships. They went 1-2, but it was Nathan Green taking that one, but so close. You mentioned Gary Martin. Gary Martin's so good, but I don't know. He hasn't been winning a lot lately, so I don't think that I would pick him here, but would definitely root for him. Love the guy. All right. Who will win the men's 1500 meters? Will it be all right, remember, guys, I can only include 3 options and another option, so it's kind of ridiculous, some of the names I'm not able to include here. But I've got to include Wes Porter, of course, as he is one of our former guests on the show, and I do think he has a realistic shot at a national title. Got to include Luke Hauser and Nathan Green as they were top two at the indoor championships in the mile. So I feel like that's how we got to do it. All right, guys, we are moments away from the men's 1500 meters at the 2026 USA Outdoor Track Championships. And I'm hoping that we reach peak viewership for this, because let me tell you, we are going to reach peak energy. There's no event that I like watching and commentating more than a mile or 1500 meters. And, you know, it's no secret that these are the athletes I know best, and I'm able to deliver probably a higher level commentary for these events. All right, guys, we're getting locked in here for this men's 1500 meters. Leave your votes. Who do you think is going to take the win? Two-minutes away here from the men's 1500, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Will Loggia. I'm the host of the Kick Runners podcast. I love running. I love a good kick. If you could, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's free to do so. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers here on the channel as soon as we can. That will unlock a lot of capabilities for our channel. All right, guys, moments away from this men's 1500 meters. Are you ready? Because I am. I'm ready, guys. Been waiting on this one all day, gotta be honest. We are just moments away from crowning the national champion in the men's and women's 1500 meter. It's going to be good. Shout out to our top commenters thus far today. Hopefully we have some new people chiming in the coming moments here as we get heated up for this men's and women's 1500 meter final. But Ferdinand is our top chatter today. Sakrenta is our number 2 commenter, and Neo is number 3. So thank you all for chiming in. Let's get this live chat popping as we approach the men's 1500 meter final. Again, going through the entry list, we have BYU's superstar who won the indoor mile just a few months ago, Carter Cutting, recently signed a deal with Hoka. He's coming into this race with some of the best tactics in the game. We'll see how he puts them to use in this national championship final. We've got the Virginia Tech star Nick Plant taking on this race after an illustrious NCAA career. We've got Luke Hauser, who placed second in this, in the mile indoors at this USA Championships. We know he's looking to try to improve upon that with a win, and he is certainly a favorite to do so. Luke Hauser knows how to win. He's learned from the best at the University of Washington. We like to call it Mile University, and there's no wonder why. 4 graduates from the University of Washington are in this men's 1500 meter national championship final. That is Luke Hauser, Ruben Reyna, Nathan Green, and Joe Wascom. All had tremendous success in the 1500 and mile at the collegiate level. They will all be a threat to take this thing. And I'm just so excited to see how it's going to play out, because there can only be one winner. Something's got to give. These men are all capable, but how will it play out? We're about to find out, as we are just 1 minute away now from the start of the men's 1500 meter final. Gary Martin, the beloved track nerd, as they say, ran for UVA and now taking on a national championship along with his old teammate Wes Porter. Porter, who was a guest right here on the Kick. We will have to be rooting for him, of course, as we support all of our Kick podcast alumni. If you haven't listened to that episode, definitely give it a listen. It was a good one. Even though he's a Kansas City Chiefs fan. We like the Raiders here on the Kick. Liam Murphy, my old New Jersey competitor. We were the same grade coming up through the New Jersey ranks in high school, and I've always rooted for him beyond that in his time at Villanova and now with Nike. Gotta love seeing a guy that you ran with in high school succeed at the next level. Vincent Ciotti, guys, he is certainly a favorite here. Quiet guy who tends to fly under the radar, but you can't count him out. He seems to always be in the top 3 at these big championship races. Can he get the win today? Eric Holt, we love him. We love his story. We know that Eric Holt is going to be running with a lot of fire in the belly, as we like to say. Super motivated, hardworking guy. Excited to see how he will run here as he mixes it up with some younger guys. All right, guys, here we go. Men's 1,500 meters is underway here at Icon Stadium. 2026 USA title up for grabs here in the men's 1,500. Early on, Gary Martin looks like he wants to get off to a fast start. So Gary Martin, not afraid to take the lead reins here and make this thing fast. Manuel Galdino also looks motivated to be up at the front. So we'll see how this all goes. Eric Holt moving his way up to the front. But now they are really slowing this thing down, guys. And Emmanuel Galdino storms to the front, but then tries to slow everybody down with a pedestrian pace. So super interesting tactic here, guys. It is a championship race, so you can see some really tactical strategies here, but they come through 400 meters in an incredibly slow 68 seconds, guys. Wow. So, if anybody was wondering if they would make this fast, oh, they are making it slow. So, it's going to be a sit and kick kind of race, and these tactical runners are going to have to figure their way out here, as a lot of them are very experienced in these kind of races, especially those University of Washington grads. So it's going to be a 400-meter race most likely when they hit that bell lap, as they are out really slow and they are just so bunched up. You got to watch out for falls in a race of this pace. Everybody very anxious and antsy to have their positioning the way they want it to be. And they're all on top of each other, so close together. And they only slowed down in that second lap. They come through 800 meters in 2:15, guys. That is incredibly slow. My goodness. Most of the 1500s I ran in college were way faster than this. So it's just kind of crazy to see it at the highest level being this pedestrian and this slow. All right, now we're starting to see some people moving. Nathan Green goes to the front and says, you know what? We can't keep this slow forever. And I like that. I don't want it to just be the last 400 that's a race, right? You want to see it start to happen a little bit sooner, and it is happening now. So let's see what they'll come through 1,200 meters at. 1,200 will be 3:12. So 3:12, it is Nathan Green in the lead. Gary Martin is right there as well. Vincent Ciotti looks good. Eric Holt fighting to keep his position. I mean, it's still going to be anybody's race here, guys. Bell lap here in the men's 1,500 meter final. USA Championships here in 2026. At Icon Stadium, it is Gary Martin leading the way right now. He is side by side the indoor mile champion from USA's Nathan Green. Vincent Ciotti also putting on a good surge here in this backstretch as they go into the final turn. Watch out for Luke Hauser, who's moving up. Right now, Nathan Green taking the lead. Nathan Green won indoors in the mile. Can he defend that title with an outdoor 1500 meter championship? There is a whole army of men chasing him down, led by Vincent Ciotti. Will he get him? He won't. It is Nathan Green winning once again, guys. Nathan Green wins the indoor mile at USA's. Now he wins the outdoor 1500 at USA's. What else do you want from him? He has asserted himself at the very top of the USA middle distance stage. And my goodness, was it a close one here. Vincent Ciotti gave him all he could handle. Loses by just 0.05 of a second. The winning time, and extremely slow for these guys, 3:50.27. Again, this is a 1500 meter, guys, not a mile. So really tactical race. Vincent Ciotti, 3:50.32 behind him. Then pretty much everybody ran 3:50. It was just everybody kicking. And they were about 5 lanes wide. And just everybody was in the race because it was so slow. My goodness. So disappointing race from Joe Wascom. He was out of it most of the way. But what are you going to do? I mean, it was just such a tactical race. Wes Porter ended up in 8th. Crazy that Wes Porter was only like 0.7 behind Nathan Green for the win, but he ends up in 8th place. That's just how close it was. Tactical race, sit and kick, and Nathan Green wins it. He has certainly asserted himself at the very top, guys. Ferdinand says, well done, Green. Yeah. I mean, Nathan Green, guys, I feel like he's got to be a favorite in every race he goes into now because he surprised people indoors in the USA mile. And everybody's talking about Nagoose and Cole Hawker, and Nathan Green won it. And now he comes into outdoors in the 1500 and he wins again. You know, he knows how to win. He did it in college at the NCAA level. You don't want to mess with Nathan Green. And in a tactical race like that, it really was anybody's race. Everybody kicking, all side by side. Nathan Green comes out on top. What a run for Nathan Green. All right, guys, so next up is the women's 1500 meter. Let's get a poll going for that one now. You guys did predict Nathan Green to win that one, and you were correct. Didn't have a ton of votes, though. Let's see if we can get some more votes on this next poll for the women's race. Who will win the women's 1500 meter? All right, guys. Of course, Nikki Hiltz has to be in this poll. Big favorite. We gotta put Teagan Schein-Becker in there, guys. Kick alum right there. Friend of the show, former guest here on the podcast. And what a field this women's 1500 is. We'll be breaking this down in just a second, but my goodness. All right, poll is now live for the women's 1500 meters. Who do you think is going to win? Ferdinand says Sandy cleared 4.8. Wow. She is having a day in the pole vault. She is having an absolute day. Sandy Morris, the 34-year-old. Clearing 4 point. I'm seeing 4.9, Ferdinand. All right, women's 1500 meters here, guys. Scheduled to go off in just a minute. Let's take a look at this field. We have Teagan Schein-Becker of the Brooks Beasts. You heard that right. The Brooks Beasts, guys. She is teammates with the world record holder in the mile on the men's side, Josh Kerr. And we had Teagan on the show here on the podcast just a couple months ago, and she is a great athlete, a great person and presence. Highly recommend listening to her episode if you haven't already. Super inspiring, and we will be rooting for Teagan in this women's 1500 meter final. Super proud of her for making it this far. Let's see how she does. Emily McKay is also in this race. She has to be considered as one of the favorites as well. Addie Wiley will be contesting the 1500 here. Taryn Parks, Jessica Kane, the young Claire Stegall, who we saw at the NCAA level. She's in this thing. I believe she'll be the youngest athlete in this field. Nikki Hiltz, of course, Carly Hansen, Heather McLean, Annika Rice, Rachel MacArthur, and Kylie Finger. So a really stacked field here on the women's side as well as they introduce the athletes. There's Claire Stegall, the 19-year-old, mixing it up for this USA Championships. And there's Teagan Schein-Becker with her famous shades. She's got a fun hairdo going there, race day hairstyle with a lot of color worked in. Pretty cool. As you can tell, I'm not really a hair expert, not sure to actually how to describe that, but there's seemingly like, I'm gonna get it wrong, but like stickers, different color stickers in her hair. I'm sorry, Teagan, I don't know, but you look ready to go, and excited to see this women's 1500 meter develop, regardless of the styles that everybody's bringing to the table. But I know Teagan talked to us on the podcast about, feeling good going to races, and part of that is, getting the fit right, getting the shades right, all that stuff. It's all part of it, guys. Look good, feel good, run good, win. All right, women's 1500 meters on the line now, and they are off. Women's 1500 meter national championship here. Off to the races. Love the way Teagan is getting out here, but all these women seem to be running pretty aggressive at the start. So let's see how it's all going to pan out. Will it be as slow and tactical as the men's? Probably not. Women's races, they tend to be more aggressive, and they don't like to mess around as much as sometimes the men do with sitting and kicking. But we'll see. We will see. All right. Early on, it's Addie Wiley taking the reins in the lead position, and it looks like she will keep it relatively honest. Definitely far more honest in comparison to what the men were doing. Honestly, this first 400 meters is probably going to be pretty similar to what the men ran for their first 400 meters, which tells you everything you need to know about how tactical the men's race was. So 400 meters approaching here, and they will come through all bunched up together still, though, in 71. So 71 seconds for that first 400. All these women still in it. Very tightly packed. It's anybody's race. How will this all play out, guys? It's going to be fun to watch. Addie Wiley in the lead early here, but a very eager and anxious pack behind her starting to creep up on her outside shoulder. So a good amount of athletes running in lane 2 here right now. We'll have to see if that comes back to bite them in the later laps, running that extra distance. But Teagan Schein-Becker, our friend of the kick here, former guest on the show, she has remained in a great spot on the rail, running the least amount of distance possible. The only drawback of that can be that it can be hard to make a move and get around people when it's time to start passing people. But she is going to start working on that now, as now Teagan steps out to lane 2. So Teagan Schein-Becker navigating out to lane 2 to try to move her way up in this pack. So we will see if she is able to do that. She gets elbowed a bit there. So Teagan, not sure who elbowed her there, but somebody trying to fend her off and not let her make this pass. But Teagan still moving up. She's expending a good amount of energy here. Is the only thing I would worry about as she runs basically this entire third lap in lane 2. That can definitely hurt. Yeah, so Teagan Schein-Becker, you can see it on her face. She is gritting it out, running a lot in lane 2 right now. Don't know if she's going to be able to hold on as they go into the bell lap, and these women are flying now. Final lap of this women's 1500 meter final at the USA Outdoor Championships in 2026. These women are absolutely tearing it up right now. Look at these women kicking. This is going to be a fast final lap. Nikki Hiltz trying to track down Addie Wiley. Or Nikki Hiltz is still in second. It's going to be a battle here. The top 3 women, Addie Wiley, Nikki Hiltz, and I believe Emily McKay, all battling it out. McKay trying to pass Hiltz, but Hiltz holding her off. And oh, it is going to be a photo finish between these 3 women. It looks like Hiltz takes the win. My goodness, that was close. Addie Wiley absolutely carries this field along. She led basically the whole way. Nikki Hiltz with a signature kick there to take the win. And it seems like it's becoming a common occurrence as Hiltz wins and wins and wins. But shout out to Addie Wiley for truly carrying this field the whole way. Emily McKay coming down that home stretch looked like she had a chance. What a battle between these 3 women at the end. It was so close. Really, let's look at the times here. They were all so close. Nikki Hiltz wins in 406.92. Congrats to Nikki. Addie Wiley was 406.96, just 0.04 of a second behind. And Emily McKay was 406.98. So they were just all within 1/10 of a second of each other. And just what a battle at the end. Really, the fastest last 100 meters was from Emily McKay, who ended in 3rd place. She was a couple of strides behind those top 2 women going into the last 100. And she really closed down in on them and almost caught them at the line, but just didn't quite have enough. And she actually falls at the end there as she's leaning for the finish. Her momentum carries her through as she takes a tumble. Nikki Hiltz is your national champion in the women's 1500 meters. Congratulations to Addie Wiley leading most of that thing and ending with a silver medal runner-up finish. Emily McKay in 3rd. How did Teagan Schein-Becker end up? She did fade a good bit at the end there. She places 11th out of 12 in this final, but what a great meet for her overall. Advancing to this final was super impressive for Teagan. Congrats to her. And what a 1500 meter race that was, guys. Ferdinand says, Nikki, best kick. I go with her. She just cleared 4.9. Oh, talking about Sandy clearing 4.9 meters in the pole vault. Yes. But Nikki, yeah, unstoppable kick. I mean, really, you got to hand it to McKay. Emily McKay really had a faster last 100, but Hiltz had the position she needed, or they needed to be just in front. So Nikki Hiltz with the win. Yeah. So Ferdinand pointing out just how close of a battle it was between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in that women's 1500. That's why we watch it, right, guys? For battles like that. Absolute fireworks in the women's 1500 meters. And that will be the second to last event of the day as we head into the finale. And that is, of course, the women's 100-meter hurdles. We watched the first round earlier today, and now these 9 women who made it here will be battling it out. So let's get a poll going here for the women's 100-meter hurdles, guys. Who is it going to be? Who will win the women's 100-meter hurdles? All right. We have Aaliyah McCormick in this thing. Now, she dominated at the collegiate level on her home track in Oregon, in Eugene, in Tracktown, USA, representing the Ducks as one of the best to ever do it. But she is on the younger side in comparison to some of the veteran favorites in this race, like Tara Davis Woodhull. How will she fare? This is going to be a very exciting race, this women's 100-meter hurdles. All right. Wow. Yeah, I don't know who to include in this poll, to be honest. We've got Alacia Johnson, Tara Davis Woodhull, Aaliyah McCormick. I want to include Tanya Marshall and Kendra Harrison and Rania Jones and Aaliyah Armstrong, but just going to have to vote other if you think it's one of those women. All right, guys, get your votes in on this poll. We are 2 minutes away from the scheduled start of the women's 100-meter hurdles. It's the final event of the day. Thank you to everybody for tuning in thus far today. It's been a great meet. Ferdinand has been our top commenter, and I don't think that will change unless somebody really starts buzzing in this live chat. Would appreciate it if you could. If you are new here, I am Will Loggia, host of the Kick, a runner's podcast. I love running and I love a good kick. And our goal is to hit 500 subscribers as soon as possible. If you could help us in that pursuit, it would mean a lot. We will unlock a lot of capabilities for this YouTube channel once we hit 500 subscribers. So subscribe if it's your vibe. It's free to do so. Hit that like button, free to do so. These things take next to no time, but they go a long way and help a ton. Really appreciate you guys helping us keep this thing going and keeping everything on this channel 100% free. All right, guys, get your votes in for who will win the women's 100-meter hurdles. It is a stacked field, guys. I would not be surprised if someone other than the 3 athletes that I included in this poll takes the win. Just after that prelim, seeing, you know, Aaliyah Armstrong looking so good. Rania Jones looked good. Tanya Marshall looked really strong. It's going to be a battle. And I think it's awesome that this is the final event of the day. And that's coming from someone who was most excited about the 1,500 meters, both for the men and women. But I think this is a perfect end to the day. It also gives these athletes a little more time to recover after the prelims. So here we go. All right, we have 3 votes so far in this poll, and each athlete in the poll has gotten a vote. So really cool to see the spread of everybody picking different people, and that, I think, speaks volumes about how competitive this 100-meter hurdle final is going to be. All right, guys, final event of the day here. Saturday, July 25th, the USATF Outdoor Championships here, 2026. It is the women's 100-meter hurdles. The final here, guys. Who will take home the crown and the national title? We have a poll going in the live chat, so please vote. We won't see your vote. It'll just reflect in the poll, so you don't have to worry about us seeing your vote. You're completely anonymous, and it's free to vote, so no reason not to. We've got 8 people watching, so ideally we could get 8 votes. So would love it if you could do that. Right now they are showing the incredible pole vault performance that is going down on the women's side. It is the great Sandy Morris who has cleared 4.9. So pretty cool to see the 34-year-old dominating the pole vault still. She is the national champion, just going after beating her own mark, it appears, at this point. All right, in lane 9 for this women's 100-meter hurdles, it is Aaliyah McCormick, the two-time NCAA champion representing the Oregon Ducks. She is now taking on the U.S. Championship wearing the On kit. Excited to see her at this level. Amber Hughes is in lane 8. She was third at the 2026 U.S. Indoor Championships. So watch out for her. All of these women qualified for this final after a great prelim round. And then, of course, in lane 7, it's Tara Davis Woodhull. What else has to be said? She was the gold medalist in Paris. Tara Davis Woodhull, probably the favorite here in this women's 100-meter hurdles. But next to her in lane 6, it is Aaliyah Armstrong. She was the indoor champion for the U.S. very recently, so she's on a bit of a hot streak. Alacia Johnson, of course, getting a lot of love in our chat today as one of the favorites. She looks all business going into this final. It looks like her uniform has a soccer ball or football, as many countries call it. So that's interesting. Tanya Marshall, guys, she's in lane 4. Watch out for her. She looked really strong in that prelim round. And then in lane 3, it is Kenny Harrison. She won silver at the Olympics in the 100-meter hurdles. I believe not the last Olympics, the Olympics before that. And then we have lane 2's Rania Jones, who snuck into this final based on time, and I'm very happy that she did so because I think she has a very reasonable chance at taking a podium spot here. Lane 1, rounding out the field, Alexandra Webster. She is a bit of an underdog here, running unattached. So we will see how she fares. All of these women earned their spot here after the prelim round earlier today. And let's see what they have in store for this final race of the day. The 100-meter hurdles for these women at Icon Stadium in New York. They are being held back right now because Morris is still going after a new mark in the pole vault. Looks like she is attempting 5.01 after her 4.90 mark. But I think she probably stick at that 4.9 result, and that would be quite impressive. All right, women 100-meter hurdles. Women taking their marks right now. Crowd goes silent at Icon Stadium as we prepare for this final event of the day. Women are set, and they are off. Very close start at the beginning here. All the women looking aggressive here, and my goodness, it's going to be close. That looks like Aaliyah Armstrong in the lead, though. It's going to be close. 1-2, Armstrong and Alacia Johnson. It is Aaliyah Armstrong who takes the win, though. Alacia Johnson in second. Tara Davis Woodhull takes third. What a run for Armstrong. Wow. So she looked great in the prelim, and that translated to the final. Nearly got caught at the line by Alacia Johnson. This was a great race, guys. 12.38 for the win for Aaliyah Armstrong. Very close across the board. Every woman under 13 seconds here. Tara Davis Woodhull falls back to third. Rania Jones in fourth, but Aaliyah Armstrong is your national champion. 12.38. So there you have it. Saturday at the USA Track Championships at Icon Stadium. We wrap up here. One more day of competition tomorrow. I cannot promise that I will be live for tomorrow. I hope to be. Still have to figure a few things out, but subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it in case we are live. Would appreciate you stopping in tomorrow. We will see. I would love to go live. Hopefully I can. But yeah, follow us on Instagram. Subscribe here on YouTube. My name is Will Loggia. This is the Kick, a Runner's podcast. It's been a great live stream with you all. Thank you for tuning in. We set a new record as far as average view duration. You guys who tuned in generally stayed with us, and that's pretty impressive as we've been going for nearly 4 hours. So really appreciate your engagement and your patience and sticking with us, especially Ferdinand, our number one commenter today. Ferdinand, yeah, you've predicted mostly everything correctly, so that's pretty impressive. But yeah, this last one was a little bit of a surprise, with Aaliyah Armstrong taking the win over Alacia Johnson and Tara Davis Woodhall. That's why we run the race. Very exciting. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today. Again, we did set a new record for average view duration, which meant people who tuned in generally stuck with us. So that is much appreciated. Really cool to see that metric be a solid result. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are in the world. I'm Will Loggia. This is the Kick, a Runner's podcast. Appreciate you tuning in, and I will see you next time on The Kick.